the $350,000 game. The winner gets $750,000 off of the $2 million prize pool. Welcome to the finals of Gamers8 featuring Rainbow Six Siege. I'm Jeannie, your host on the Savvy pre-show with Anne and Jesse. We're all suited and booted and ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, these lights at the back as well, they make me think that the future's been planted. I'm sitting in the window, I'm watching the game. It's just a teeny tiny bit ahead of time, but it's going to be a good one for sure.
It is. We have BDS up against M80, Jesse. Both of these teams have never, ever played each other. So this is one for the history books.
That's exactly right, Ginny. It's not very often that at this high level of a game you get a grand finals where the two teams have never, ever met before. So, you know, there's going to be some unfamiliarity in this matchup, but it is the classic NA versus EU, so we're going to have a great game no matter what.
Yeah, we're going to have a little bias on the desk as well because we have EU analyst, NA analyst.
Wow.
Even though, yes, no, you guys don't want to like get into a little bit of an altercation?
I mean, there's a part of EU on that NA team as well, so it's
They play in the NAL, that's my league, that's all that matters.
Okay, there we go. We already started. But Gamers8 in total, we said that we have 12 esports titles competing here. And yes, Rainbow Six Siege gets $2 million of the prize pool. But in total, across the 12 titles, there is $45 million. I mean, you said it yourself, and you had the chance yesterday to go sit in the stage and have a look. Give us a little bit of an insight. You didn't do a vlog, but walk us through it.
It's so pretty in there. Like, the graphics are so good. When you see someone get the first kill or when someone gets a multi-kill, there's lots of lights. It's a very big screen with a very big graphic of the player themselves. The glass breaks, first kill. It's really looking good. Obviously, the game I watched yesterday as well, W7M versus M80, both teams are really vocal, and you really got a taste of the atmosphere and the vibe of that game. It was great.
Yeah, and here at Gamers8, besides the prize pool, there's also the Club Awards, which we kind of dissected a little bit over the last couple of days, but if you missed it, that's fine. We are going to explain it to you as well. So, when it comes to the Club Awards, you can win your team, you can win the prize pool by being the best, obviously. Everybody wants to be the best, but you can also win it through having the best fans or just having your team perform the best in multiple titles. So, a little bit of an explainer, let's have a look.
This year, esports will reach new heights. Welcome to the Gamers8 Club Awards, an unprecedented initiative that will determine the best overall esports club in the world, and also support the entire global community. During Gamers8 2023, the world's best clubs will compete on two levels. First, in each individual tournament, and second, in the overall standings. High placements in every title will earn them ranking points, initiating the race to the top. After 8 weeks of intense competition, the winners of the Gamers8 Club Awards will be honored as the best and most successful multi-gaming club in the world. Competitors will fight for the lion's share of $5 million. However, it's not just about the money. On August 30th to 31st, the first annual awards ceremony will take place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The land of heroes awaits its new conquerors.
All right, that was definitely a better explanation than what I've done on the desk, so I'm happy to hear. I'm happy to see that video and also be reminded of the great initiatives here at Gamers8. We're looking at the points from the start of this week. Twisted Minds still at the top, Ninjas in Pajamas third, and Falcons second, and Falcons third. Now with Falcons also dropping out of the Siege competition, I'm gonna have a couple of questions in terms of how that is going to play out, but it's so incredibly close between them and NIP.
Yeah, that is really close. I believe there's 0.17, I think, between those two. There's a bigger gap from Falcons to the team right underneath them. So that obviously allows an opportunity for the two teams participating today to get higher up on that scoreboard and grab some points.
Yeah, Falcons also competing in PUBG Mobile, so again, that's going to allow them to rack up a couple of more points as well. Not entirely sure if NIP is competing in any other titles, but still, you have the players here, you can continuously get in and get some more of those awards on the board. Now, those are the club awards, but there is also the merit awards, and these ones are very much specific to Siege rather than Gamers8 as a whole, which means that you have $140,000 being dedicated to this segment alone. You got the most valuable player, which last year went to Shaiko. We also have the most creative fans, the best content for the teams, and the most kills. Now, we can decide the most creative fans, and we have asked for a lot of memes, so I hope you guys delivered, but the content as well, we're gonna have to rate that too.
We will, and I know that there's some social media managers, some content teams out there that have been working very hard and have put out some awesome stuff. We had a little bit of a sneak peek earlier today behind the scenes, so I'm excited to see who ends up with that award.
Yeah, I want to start off with the most creative fans because I do like the submissions that the fans send out, so we're going to start off with that, having a look at the winner, which is going to be M80. Yo! Okay, that's
sick.
actually pretty
Wow.
good. Someone spent a lot of their time learning how to do some photo editing.
Yeah, that's a great. I think it's drawing. Is it or
Is it
editing?
drawing or edit? Okay, if that is
It's
a
too
drawing,
good to tell.
Digital drawing, maybe.
it's so
Yeah.
hyper realistic that's actually impressive. So no wonder that they won. But that is wild.
Very sick drawing. Very much deserving of the award.
That is 25. That's a $25,000 drawing. That's a whoever made that or whoever edited that, you just created a $25,000 art piece. So
Hang it
Well
up in a
done.
museum.
Yeah.
hang it up in a museum. Yeah, it's contemporary art.
Yeah, yeah.
Put a banana with a little nail in it. That's also hard. But no, but that one was actually really good. So that was one of the first awards, and it goes to M80. We also have the most creative content, and this is the content that the teams and the players are putting out on social media. We've seen a lot of social media, just camera people, everything's being recorded, from the walkouts to Jesse walking behind the teams to Jesse being on his phone while everybody's being very serious. So there's a lot of content being produced, which means it's going to be a little bit more difficult to decide.
Obviously, yeah, there's so many teams and they all have social media people behind them. They're all trying to really publish themselves as a positive way on social media. It's important for the fans, of course, to stay updated with that as well. There's people that are really creative with that. They'll come up with memes, they'll come up with videos, they'll come up with these awesome creations. So I'm very curious who's won it.
Yeah, so let's have a look because we have a video ready, and that's probably going to give away who's going to be the winner.
Every story starts somewhere.
Cristiano Ronaldo. Ainda bem jogado por Cristiano Ronaldo.
Lisbon, Portugal.
Well, simply put, Dan, LeBron James is the best high school
Akron,
basketball
Ohio.
player I have ever seen. And I think as a
Atlanta, Georgia.
Curitiba, Brasil.
São Paulo, Brasil.
Sundsvall, Sweden. But there's a moment in every story when it becomes a legend.
And then Ronaldo! What a goal by Cristiano Ronaldo! Sensational! The catch not to one, there's the second, there follows with the 3 minutes!
Can you feel it? Our legend begins now.
I'm not gonna lie, that gave me a little bit of goosebumps.
Yeah.
That was such a good edit, and that was just a promotional video for their match yesterday against W7M, which they did end up winning. So M80 are also the winners of most creative content, and that is another $25,000 prize that they are going to get to their name. So they must be very happy right now.
I mean, yeah, if you say you're watching that video without getting goosebumps, you're just lying. That's it. And that whole video, even the production value of it as well, it looked like it was an actual movie. The way you saw the players, the sunlight, the setting, the position of the camera, it looked really good and definitely a deserved award if you ask me.
Whoever made that, give that person a raise.
Shout out to Red Cube. I'm guessing.
You're guessing.
I'm guessing.
Give Red Cube a raise.
Good guess, probably.
Okay, yeah, sure. All right. But last year, though, M80 was not here. Whereas BDS were here, were in the finals, were undefeated, and took it in a 3-0 fashion. They're looking to repeat that. This is the first time that we've seen them on that international stage. So I think M80 has a lot to look forward to, because that is that historical element of Rainbow Six and Gamers8 last year being the inaugural tournament. And now this is number 2, and they're looking to dethrone their champs.
Yeah, if we look at, for example, BDS, how they got into this tournament last year, it was a flawless run for them. They did a really good job at winning out this tournament. And for them, before that, it was like, oh, when is BDS going to win that big international tournament? When are they going to really take home that big piece of silverware? And I feel like for BDS, of course, it would be really good to get this successful period again. But the same question could be hanging in the air for M80, right? When are they going to win their massive international tournament? When are they going to take that big victory? So yeah, for both teams, there's a lot on the line.
Yeah, I mean, who better to challenge for the title than a team that BDS has never played before? A bunch of young players who have just come up. You know, they made a roster move not too long ago at the start of the season, bringing in Iconic, bringing in Spoit. M80 have really just been grinding and building themselves into this powerhouse powerhouse. And for the first time, they look like they could be the best team in the world. So to come in now, get their chance against the reigning champions here at Gamers8, I know they're going to be excited, and we're going to be in for a great game.
Yeah, we started off with 8 teams competing for $2 million. We now have 2 teams left. First place is going to get $750,000 and the second place $400,000. So if my math is correct, please don't quote me, $350,000 on the line. I mean, you're secured at least 400, which is absolutely an incredible position to be in. But you know, you can almost double it.
Almost double it, yeah. That's really significant. I mean, obviously for M80, they got a bit of money in the bag already with the creative fans, with the content that they did. But obviously, I mean, it would be nice to make it an even bigger number for them.
Yeah, yesterday though, that was really where it started for them. We started off with BDS up against Falcons, and we were expecting this to be maybe a little bit more competitive, considering it was the finals for Gamers8 Siege in 2022. Unfortunately for Falcons, they really weren't able to close it out.
Yeah, I feel like the beginning of that game kind of made me a little bit worried for BDS. They were starting out on their own attacks, and they were really getting caught off guard by some of the Falcons players. It didn't really look all that organized until they got on their own defense. We saw a better team play, we saw more communication coming from these BDS players. Eventually went to win out their opponent's map pick, and then to win out their own map pick as well to close out in a 2-0 series.
Unfortunately, history repeating itself. Falcons didn't get a map last year, they didn't get a map this year.
Yeah, you were wrong about that, Jesse.
I was, yeah. I kind of hope that Falcons could pop back and maybe win some maps over BDS. But hey, I mean, BDS played so darn well. And I mean, you take a look at the guys that were popping off. I thought Alems, particularly on the second map, really did show up. Alems and Renshiro, not the 2 names that you often think about when you think about BDS, but their play with the Dokkaebi Lion combo was absolutely killer on Skyscraper.
And now we're seeing this play as well, right? Bride at the attacking half. I think he finished it 0-1, I'm not sure, playing Monty as well, helping his team. And then in that final round, he got this 1v3 that was super important. So we know him for getting those clutches on the board to really secure out that game.
Yeah, Jack as well mentioned yesterday on the desk, he's had a little bit of a dry spell, and that 1v3 definitely made up for it.
Certainly. And then, of course, you know, M80 versus W7M was a crazy game as well. That one went all the way. M80 having such a tough battle against a team that many of us were predicting to be the favorites to win the whole tournament. Of course, your reigning Copenhagen champions. There were some plays. This round here, absurdity. Of course, big clutch for Philippox pulling that one off. But yeah, this was a really, really good game from M80.
It was really the reactions here as well that you got on land that are absolutely priceless.
Yeah, because I was watching that map in the crowd, right, and the players already stood up trying to clap and compliment the good play that M80 brought out with the reinforcement, and then it went completely the other way around, still coming out victorious for W7M. This moment as well, very unfortunate for W7M to execute with the double frost met that they unfortunately landed into. We were talking about, it doesn't happen that often that W7M get flawless, right? They usually have people trading out kills, but I think it happened twice in that game where M80 got a flawless round over W7M, really showing how dominant they were.
Yeah, and we started to see M80 really go through with the attacks, some great plays from Kino, and you can tell that they are really excited to be here in the Grand Finals. This is a team that's never played in an international Grand Finals before, okay? They've been the champions of North America, but they've never been able to make it all the way. They've been in plenty of playoffs, quarterfinals, semis, you name it. This will be their first time on the Grand Finals of an international stage. I'm sure it means a lot to them.
Absolutely. A little bit of trash talk before the game started between these 2 teams, but at the end it was nothing but love and respect. That Siege was probably one of the best series we've seen so far here at Gamers8 featuring Siege. So I'm really looking forward to what M80 can bring when they're going up against BDS later today, because it is going to be a best of 5, and it is also going to be the LG game of the day because it's the finals. How can it not be?
Yeah, we have to agree on that. Obviously, it's going to be a very big matchup. You mentioned that this is their first time playing a really big finals. Obviously, together as a team, they have, some of these players have that experience of playing such a grand final before. Spoit in Berlin. We've got, well, Iconic was an Astralis when he played in Charlotte, for example, as well, during the finals as well. So maybe that helps with the nerves coming into that game a little bit. But of course, there's a lot on the line.
There's a lot on the line indeed, and both of these teams are in a certain headspace at the moment. You're coming into this is the finals, and we said there's already so much of the prize pool up for grabs. But how are the players feeling? What are they thinking? Let's have a check-in.
So I'm the new player in BDS for the final, the back-to-back. So yeah, I hope we win this. So we'll do our best and get this final, even if I'm new in the roster.
I think our confidence is up in the sky. We beat the invite winner, we beat the less major winner, and we're ready to take it off.
It's relatively safe as well as he spots nothing else.
Do it.
Oh, this could be
Do it.
big timing play right here. He's gonna hop out, sees the
Damn! Oh my goodness, a trade from Casey at the top end, but the damage is already done. Beautifully done by Spoit.
What we need for the finals in order for us to win, I think, is confidence and trust in each other. And I think if we have both of those, we'll win for sure.
The strongest side in M80 is like we can see against W7M is the attack with Spoit like taking big kill, waiting for rotate and get the kill. So yeah, we'll try to counter strat Spoit.
But look at the damage, Brede. We've seen Brede clutch. Brede loves a clutch. We haven't seen one yet today. Is this going to be the time? Grabs one, grabs two. Brede, you're on for it here. This is for a spot in the grand finals. Does he know where the final player is coming from? Inside, there's a very good chance that Brede can deny this plant from below. You can see him there lurking. The C4 goes up. Brede does it again! A 3K clutch to take his team into the finals.
What M80 has that BDS doesn't, I think the overall gun skill and firepower that all 5 of us have. I think BDS should be scared of all 5 of us.
Our previous map's a little bit more clear-oriented, whereas Chalet, it's really about just getting the goods, man. You're trying to take these fights, and it looks like it's going to be happening now. No way! W7M, the biggest mistake you can make on the window. They don't look down. There's 2 frost nets, and that's the round. M80.
So BDS is better than M80 because we have a better game sense and game knowledge, like with Renshiro, LM, BDS in Tier 1, Shaco the best player and Brede the best clutch. Careful M80, we're coming for you.
All right, we heard it from BDS himself, Shaiko the best player. That's going to be something because arguably on the desk we've heard also Spoit being called the best player. So it's going to be a matter of BDS, M80, it's going to play out in final, it's going to be down to these gunners getting their places, but BDS does really very much rely on Shaiko and Liquefact.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the entries, for example, we're gonna have to look at Liquefact and Spoit. And talking about Liquefact, for example, a little bit as well, Ian interviewed LMs yesterday asking, oh, who do you want to play against tomorrow? Is it M80? Is it W7M? And LMs was a little bit on the fence saying, no, we want the better team. And then I got to interview Liquefact after, and I asked him the same question, seeing if I could get a little bit more info from that. And he said, we kind of want to play against W7M because it has that revenge game. So there might be the factor that they were expecting to play against a different team than what they are playing today.
Oh, I mean, expectations, you can't really have them coming into the tournament because that game, W7M M80, it had to go all the way. So BDS will most likely have prepped something, right?
Of course. I mean, they've had all night, right? You don't need to sleep. You can get ready, get that prep going. Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with the point that Am brought up in terms of the entry game. You know, this is going to be really exciting to see that Liquefact versus Spoit battle going on. Spoit right now, 21-12 on the entry. A 1.75 ratio is the thing of dreams. You pray for stats like these, and Spoit's got it now through this tournament. So I'm sure they're going to feel very, very good. That opening pick, it's going to be important. We talked about how that was important for M80 in their matchup against W7M yesterday, and now coming back into this one, it's going to be important. I think a big thing that enables Spoit so heavily is the intel game from M80. On attack, it is crazy. A 60% overall attacking win rate coming through from M80 in this tournament so far. Very high, the highest of any squad that we've got here in Riyadh. And a big reason why is because they've got that simple combo. Kino tosses in a drone, sometimes he's Monty. Either way, the intel is there, and Spoit's right in behind it for the frag.
Yeah, but going up against a team like BDS who've had multiple international experiences, they've won this tournament last year around, they're not going to give them the easiest run of the day.
No, and obviously there's similarities, right? I mean, there's quite a few players from both sides, I think, that you can compare to each other. You mentioned Kino on the Monty. I feel like Brede does that too. He did that on Skyscraper yesterday. And actually, in that game yesterday from Skyscraper, Brede's deaths got traded about 50% of the time. So it's really valuable, unfortunately, if that your support player has to die, that there is someone right next to you that can refrag them. And that shows that BDS have this really good communication on their defense. We saw that in their game yesterday too, when they have players helping each other out when they get in these really unfortunate situations. That's a very reliable win factor if your team play and communication overall is good.
Certainly. I mean, I think that when we take a look at how this entry battle is going to go on, I'm really excited to see what happens when M80 ramp up on the attack and BDS ramp up on the defense. One thing that we've noticed from BDS is they often start kind of slow on their defensive halves. Time after time, they're starting down 0-2, 0-3, 0-3, multiple times for this tournament. And the key is going to be, can they bounce back? Because when they went down, 0-2 on defense against Falcons in that second map, and when they went down 0-3 against W7M on Bank, they bounced back. They tied both those halves, 2-2 and 3-3 respectively. So they were able to make that adjustment. They were able to get a little bit more aggressive and change the tides. However, when they went down 0-3 against W7M on Chalet, they didn't really get that same story, 1-5 total half. So I really want to see BDS out with a stronger start today if they're on that defensive half, getting those rounds early, because while it's great to be able to adapt, you'd like to not have to.
I like how you're mentioning this point of BDS having maybe a slower start on the defense, because I feel like M80's playstyle on attack fits into that so well. I've seen them do this thing quite a few times now where they start on attack and that first round is just an explosive round. They bring out the Blitz, they bring out a Ying, they bring out anything crazy or funky to really set the tone and the pace of that game, and that could really catch BDS off guard. For example, I've not seen them do that much when the game's already going on and they switch towards their attack inside, really just at the start to set the tone of the game.
Yeah, we're looking at M80 as the opponent for BDS, and so far they have genuinely very much proven themselves in this international competition. Yes, BDS also won against W7M, but the fact that M80 was able to do so with the experience that they have, with the roster that they have, that is an absolute formidable feat. So when we're looking at M80, what strengths are we looking them to bring forward into these maps? Because it's going to be best of one, so besides stamina, which was already tested on day one, they have to come through with some pretty incredible individual plays as well.
They have to, and I mean, if you look at individual plays, there's two players right now together that are leading the scoreboard when it comes to most kills in this tournament. Both Spoit and Diaz are on 87 kills. They're pretty far ahead of the player that's right after them. I think that's Leak Effect, and then it's Iconic, so they're pretty far ahead in that regards. So yeah, when it comes to personal performances, these two players really can be the spearhead of that team.
Yeah, and obviously individual plays, they're great. You love to watch them, but I'm really interested in seeing how the teamwork goes down for M80, because I feel like they have been living or dying a little bit on that coordination. Sometimes they're out on their own games and we've got trades coming in. Spoit may go down, but then Gomez is there for the trade. Iconic may go down, but then Spoit's there for a trade, right? They're playing together and they're having that great impact. Then there are other maps we've seen throughout this tournament, a couple of those Villa games that we saw the last few days where the players are too far disconnected. We're seeing Spoit and Gomez maybe not really being near each other, and when one goes down, there's no ability to trade. So whilst individual moments and having incredible star power is great, I do want to see the fundamentals for M80. I want to see them playing as a unit.
They need that communication as well, because there's a few rounds yesterday, for example on Theme Park in the game that they played, that there was a breach being open, a player got killed, and then there wasn't really that communication as fast enough to save another player that was playing close to that breach. So team play will be really important in that regard as well. It felt like sometimes they were being caught off guard by W7M players. They were just standing with their back towards them and not really understanding where these players are pushing them from.
Yeah, making these smaller mistakes against a roster like BDS could prove fatal in terms of how the maps are going to go.
Certainly. I mean, I think BDS is a team that they really don't make a whole lot of mistakes. They're so well seasoned. They're a team that have been together for a very long time. Their players have been in this game for an incredibly long time. So, they're a very good unit by themselves. Sure, they have more maybe pop-off potential with individual players stepping up for a little bit more than what we see on M80, but still, it's such a well-oiled machine, and that's the game plan, right? It's okay, because that's really the playstyle of Siege they want to go for. M80 can say, we have better individuals, all 5 of us can shoot, but can all 5 of you shoot as good as Shaiko and Licky Pack?
If you want to talk about the map ban thing and a map situation, obviously it being a best of 5, you need to show that you have a deeper map pool than when you're just playing best of 3. So BDS have played 5 different maps, and M80 have already played 6 different maps during this tournament.
Pretty
so
cool.
Probably quite some footage. I'm not surprised to see the Villa ban come out. It is the heaviest contested ban for BDS. For M80, that should be Cafe, so that being their ban really makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so we're also talking about the maps that we're going to be heading into. We already seen Villa and Cafe taking out of the map pool. So if we're trying to see what we're going to be going, I mean, I would expect maybe a Clubhouse, which is also a little bit more of an interesting one because we have seen BDS already ban it throughout the competition.
Yeah, which is a bit odd. I mean, I think they banned it in a game where they were playing against a team that was also really good on Clubhouse. They themselves are pretty good on this map, but their first pack will actually be Oregon. It seems that this map is a bit of a low-ish preference for them, and they've won 4 out of their most 7 recent games. M80 have got 5 losses on this map in 7 games, so it isn't the greatest of maps for them.
Okay.
BDS did win it from W7M. M80 haven't played it yet.
I mean, I think that's it, right? You want to pick Oregon before M80 get a chance to ban it in the next phase. They didn't ban it first. They would have probably banned it second. Oregon, really not a great game for them. 3-game losing streak in Tier 1 competition only. Losing to DZ, SSG, and M&M as well at the Copenhagen Major, where they got eliminated on this map. So not a happy one for them. And then they're going to pick up Border themselves. Very commonly played for them. Their most played map, 5 plays this season in Tier 1 competition. Some losses for sure. You know, they did lose it against DZ and GWB Grand Finals, but they beat NIP here at Gamers8. So still, I think with the comfort factor, M80 are going to feel pretty good on Border.
Okay, we have Clubhouse coming through from BDS as well. A bit more of that comfort pick coming out. When we're looking at Clubhouse and M80 performance on there, are we thinking that they're going to be able to take them head on?
The thing is, I think BDS are very comfortable on Clubhouse, right? That's why they pick it. But then in recent history, they've only won 5 out of 9 games on this map, with the most recent result being a loss to M&M. It is also a pretty decent map for M80 because their most recent win was against G2 in this tournament. So I think for BDS, obviously, it must be a comfort pick, but still, with M80 being so good on that map, it's a little bit risky.
And then I'm going to skip ahead. This is kind of an interesting choice from M80. So obviously Bank and Theme Park, they just got to choose the order. They knew they'd be playing both. They put their better map last. They say if we're going to go all 5, if we need it, then we're going to save the best for last. Theme Park is so good for them. 5-game win streak at the moment, taking out Space Station, Dark Zero, Falcons, Dark Zero again, and then finally W7M just yesterday. That's a very strong map for M80, and I think they're kind of thinking, well, if we get to our last leg where it's all on the line, we want to be somewhere where we're comfy.
Yeah, well, I want to start specifically focusing on Oregon, though, because that's the map that we're going to be heading into in about 90 seconds. And the fact that Oregon is the one that's coming out first, and you already mentioned it yourself as well as Jesse, and the fact that this is not a comfort pick for M80. So what's going on here?
I mean, no. BDS have picked this map. That means that M80 gets to pick their starting side. We're probably going to go for defense first, I would assume. Yeah. Which gives them a little bit of a comfort ground to start out on. I was a bit sad. I would have wanted to see like a real explosive take in that first round, for example, like a rush through the blue bunker or something. Maybe BDS will eventually still bring that out anyways.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously it's not a good map for M80, but they haven't been hard permabanning at this event, right? They've let it through a couple times. They've not played it so far this event. But that does make me wonder, you know, obviously their losses. The last time we had some Siege was a little bit ago, so maybe the map's not as poor for them anymore. I'm sure they've been working on it in the background. They don't really have that recent experience in a Tier 1 official competition, but it's still going to be a map that it's very basic, cookie cutter. It's hard to forget how to play Oregon.
I'm a bit surprised because it's the first time for my stats for this year that BDS have picked this map in competition. It's also a very highly contested ban for them, so maybe a fair ground for both teams as they're not extremely comfortable, unless you're cooking up something.
Unless you're cooking up something. We have the defending champions BDS up against a team looking to start their own dynasty. M80 is going to be playing this game for $350,000 finals. It starts now.
The sun is blazing, the moon is shining. In a land of heroes, where the stars are rising. Nobody can stop me, I walk through the fire, right here for fame. Who will us the gusts of the storms in the desert, this is not a game. We fight for glory. and I focus my mind. The pine, nice in the heart of a lion. A battle with pride is a matter of time. I become the most greatest, the victory's mine. We reach for the cup, and the tension is up. In the city area, everybody's getting hot. It's not about luck, it's up on the skills that we got. International scores from all over the globe. Are you ready to show up from broad the spot?
It's Championship Sunday. 3 days of superb siege led to this very moment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gamers8 Rainbow Six Grand Finals. My name's Ian Chambers. This is Fancy.
3 أيام من قمة المنافسة في رينبو 6 سيج وصلتنا إلى هذه اللحظة. أعزائي المشاهدين، هذا هو النهائي الكبير لبطولة رينبو 6 سيج في موسم الجيمرز، واليوم التاريخ راح يكتب.
Huge stakes, so many to not even go into right here, right now. Money, this trophy, we could go on and on. But one thing's for sure, we've got 2 epic teams ready to make their way out onto the stage. Will it be the destiny of a new dynasty or a repeat of history?
The stakes are so high أعزائي المشاهدين. اللحظة هذه يا أما أنه فريق راح يعيد كتابة التاريخ أو إن فريق راح يحصل على أول بطولة عالمية له في تاريخ هذا النادي. خلونا نشوف مين اللي بيقدر يقدم أفضل رينبو 6 سيج معنا في هذه اللحظة، إن احنا جاهزين إننا نقدم لكم الفرق.
Fancy, sorry, we've waited a long time for this. Are you ready to bring out?
I'm ready, let's do it.
Okay, let's bring out our first grand finalist right here, right now. We're witnessing them blow up before our very eyes. It's M80! They say that this is only the beginning of a historic run in Siege. They want this stage to be looked back upon as iconic. A team full of hype, both inside and outside of the camp, and they are ready to live up to it.
هذا الفريق هو الجيل الجديد من عهد رينبو 6 سيج. هذا الفريق اللي اللحظة هذه ما حصل على ولا بطولة عالمية، ولكن جايين اليوم ولا راح يرضون بأي شيء أقل من أنهم يأخذون الكأس معهم لبيوتهم. الفريق هذا هو الفريق اللي تركز عليه عزيزي المشاهد، أن الفريق هذا جاي اليوم يكتب تاريخ جديد معنا في موسم الجيمرز.
Their opponents, of course, are the reigning champions.
They're ready to be here أعزائنا المشاهدين. هذا الفريق ما هو غريب على هذا المسرح، ما هو غريب على النهائي الكبير لبطولة رينبو 6 سيج. خلونا أول شيء نتعرف عليها. الفريق القادم لإعادة التاريخ، فريق BDS. أخذوا الكأس قبل سنة بالضبط في هذا المسرح في موسم الجيمرز، جايين يعيدون الكرة مرة ثانية. هذا الفريق ما قدر ولا أحد يوقف في طريقهم طوال ال3 أيام الماضية. استمروا إلى النهائيات ما عدا خسارة واحدة فقط في ماب واحد فقط، لكن ولا سيريس أحد قدر ياخذها منهم.
This moment will feel like deja vu for this team. The term been there, done that absolutely applies. It's like the warm weather here sets them on fire, and so far nobody has been able to put them out.
في الفترة الأخيرة هذا الفريق ما كان في أفضل أداء، ولكن مجرد ما تواجدوا معنا في موسم الجيمرز رجع أدائهم إلى القمة، رجع أدائهم إلى البيك اللي ممكن يسوونه في رينبو 6 سيج، واليوم ما راح يرضون إلا أنهم يكونون الباك تو باك تشامبيونز معنا في موسم الجيمرز.
Everything is set for an absolute blockbuster of a grand final here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia with our crowd right now. Are we ready for this? M80, BDS, please take your seats. Fancy, I am proud and delighted to be here alongside you to watch this unfold.
Likewise, Ian, we are about to make history. We're about to see history being written. الرياض العاصمة المملكة العربية السعودية راح يكتب فيها التاريخ. أعزائنا المشاهدين جاهزين للمباراة على طول نروح مع المعلقين نتكلم معاهم أكثر ونبدأ في افتتاحية الشامبيونشيب سانداي.
Over to our casters to run through this one.
Ian Fancy, thank you very much indeed. We are going to be running through this grand final here today. Myself, XR Troika, joined with Demo in the casting box. And what a fixture we have on our hands here.
Two teams, two big teams. One team which has been in plenty of finals before. One team not so much. That's where we're at. BDS have all the experience, all the exposure. They know what it's like. M80, some of them do. One of them's lifted a big trophy before, but the others, this is it. This is their chance.
Some of the others have come close. Some of the others have come within arm's reach.
3 of them have never played in the final.
And then there's the other 3 players that have never played in the final. Big undertaking here for M80. We've tried to build them as this team that is the team that can. It's a team that has got the raw ingredients of a fantastic squad. But they're going up against the veterans here today, Demo. BDS, winners last year at Gamers8, winners of the Yonkopin Major. They've been in finals, they've been in semi-finals, they've been in all sorts of big fixtures other than those two. They're just the 2 that they've been successful in. We always said for the longest time, right up until this time last year, we said, when are BDS going to win something? This time last year, Gamers8 kicked off that winning streak for them. It didn't last too long, but it started something.
Even look at the average ages of both teams. I think the average age of BDS is, you're nearing what, 26, 27? You look at M8, you're looking at 20. That's a massive, that's probably the biggest gap we've got in terms of age that we've seen in the history of Siege. I don't think there's been that big of a jump. It's insane.
I was in the lift this morning with Bodega on the way down to get some food. And I didn't want to interview, I didn't want to, ask him too many hard-hitting questions. I just sort of said, look, how you doing? Are you enjoying yourself? Like, what's going on? And he just looked at me and he said, today's a childhood dream. And that was it, that's all he said. Childhood dream. So at least that's been fulfilled for Bodega. Whether they're going to lift the trophy or not,
Bodega
leads to be believed.
He's obviously a lot of experience inside of Brazil. We know him with MIBR. He never got to a final.
No.
He got to 3rd place. That was it. We witnessed him get to 3rd place. And it does feel, though, the kind of vibe from M80 yesterday was, it did feel very, oh, we're just happy we got the final because they've never done it before. Whereas you look at BDS, it's, job's not done.
Yeah.
BDS know that there's still one more game to go. M80, it's really tricky because I think the desk is very much on the side of M80 still need more time to cook up and see if they can, really be the finished product because that team's still growing together. Whereas BDS, those guys know each other inside and out.
I think that comes into play, doesn't it? The tenure that the BDS roster has as a core. You think back to when Leaky Fat came in onto the roster, that was a big change for BDS.
First change in 2 years for that team.
First and only change in 2 years. So you start talking about tenure, you start talking about familiarity. BDS certainly got it. M80, can they step up to the plate here? We've got a best of 5 grand finals coming your way. We're going to be kicking things off here with Oregon. M80 starting off on the defense. Not a bad way to kick off a grand final, is it? Starting off defense on Oregon.
It is Oregon. That's where we're going to. And both of these teams, what everyone will see at home is these two will play very similar in play styles. What we've seen over the course of the week is M80 are a side that will try and they'll try and play around Spoit as their main, warhead almost to get themselves into a good position to win a round. Equally, BDS do that with EFAC. So the thing is for me today, the big decider is Spoit going to have a bad day? Or is EFAC going to have a bad day? Both of them going to have a bad day, and then we start to see it's going to be an 8v8. Or 4v4, should I say, with the rest of the 8 of them. Or will it be both teams just on top of their game and we have one of the best series this game's ever seen? That's where we're at.
Well, we saw EFAC yesterday. He didn't have the greatest of times, but the times that he did have where he was really able to be that spearhead worked fantastically well for BDS. Think back to a lot of those rounds on Skyscraper, for example. That's where EFAC really started to come alive. And then, as you've mentioned, on the flip side, it's unusually not even Spoit who we're really keeping a look at here for most kills and all that sort of stuff. Spoit's having a kind of a quiet time of things. Diaz, he's actually up there in terms of kills, in terms of, you know, contribution in that factor. Obviously, one of the reasons we keep a closer eye on that and bring it up is because of the MVP award that we have at the end of this final. MVP of the entire Gamers8 series. So, got to keep an eye on those sort of things. They do play a big part in that. Kicking off with a bit of Capcom.
Yeah, I like those Capcans a lot. You may be thinking, well, how's that going to work? You don't place Capcan traps in windows, especially one in Tier 3. What you'll find the odd time is there will be Amarus who will just get caught out. They'll just swing in through the top of Tier 3 and just get exploded immediately. Both sides. I feel for Oregon, they're going to have to play very aggressive with how the meta is developing. Ying being banned away for BDS, that may cause issues for them on the attack, but they will still go for something a little bit exotic, Ollie. We see the Blitz, which is... He's the king of taking blue. There's not a better operator, in my opinion, than Clear and Elbow.
You love a little bit of Blitz.
It's my guy. He's my op.
The thing is, even though you're a little bit biased, I do think that you are right.
The best Blitz in the world.
But not about that. I'm more meaning about
make sure you're agreeing with me.
The fact that Blitz is very useful for this particular push. We're expecting both of these teams to use the sort of more firework operators to get a good entry on into the building. For the meantime, BDS are going to be taking their time. Bride to lead this charge, immediately flashes out onto Kino. You can see there that Dreadmine has little to no effect. Alems, he's in the site. Hello, Alems is just walking down long. He's picked himself up too. Now's the time for Shaiko to hop in, catch these roamers out as they try and retreat back to site. We've got Diaz coming down Freezer, but the plant's going down here, Demo.
Yeah, nobody from M80 there to react. Alems wins his 1v1 and the entire site just falls to BDS. M80 have tried a roam game. I just don't think roaming in this current meta on Oregon basement is just going to get you caught out, and there's two of them both stacked up in Freezer. Alems didn't know who to target, but both of them eventually will fall. EFAC and Shaiko respectively picking up a kill each. Yeah, BDS is easy as a light for them. Honestly, roaming on basement, Ollie, I'm not a fan of it. I think defenders, with the power creep you have, with operators such as Fenrir, the fact that we're seeing all three of the utility deniers available for M80. You've got the Jaeger, you've got the Wawai and the Aruni, all up for grabs in that basement. Goyo's up as well. There's no need to roam. Yeah. There's so, like, that bomb site, how many times have I told you? That is the hardest bomb site to attack in the game, not even a map, in the game.
And what does Alems do? Walks down backstairs, wins his one, nicks up two. It is quite literally as easy as that.
Almost
devastated. Yeah, almost a little bit of a TK.
Oh, well, that's how you kick things off in style. A first round blitz. I love to see it. And M80, what is going to be their choice next? They will switch up the bomb site solid. They're going to go to the top floor now. We do say that we kind of measure Oregon and how you play your defenses based on how you defend your third bomb site choice generically, because bottom and top floor is usually won by the defenders. In this case, we have an issue because basement's already been won by the attackers. That shouldn't happen.
Now you're going to look toward your top floor as the site that you're going to try and pick a couple of defender rounds up in.
If you lose this, then you're in hot water.
Well, there's nothing to say that BDS are going to be able to just walk in and do the same again when they attack basement next time.
Well, this is, I think, a site that will suit BDS's attack more, mostly because if you look at the actual layout of the top floor inside a kid's bedroom, it's very claustrophobic. There's not a lot of areas you can move. You've got double window, which cuts off all the crosses. You've got a window inside of kids as well. You're pretty stationary as a defender for this site for the most part. And if you're standing still, and if there's nades on BDS, which we know there always is going to be, and Shaiko and Renchi they've been on point with their nades this tournament, you will die.
Spoit choosing to stay here. He's potentially overstaying his welcome a little bit. He's causing himself a little bit of a problem, and BDS is going to have to try and respond to this. He does have Iconic working with him just on the bottom of those stairs, but he has actually dipped off and gone further up Freezer. Spoit will win out the engagement onto Shaiko. BDS not having the desired pinch there.
No, just a little bit too timid for my liking for BDS. I think if you know someone's going to be inside security, you just need to push, you need to go for it. But allowing Spoit just to swing as freely as what he does, it's surprising. You pointed there, Ollie, Iconic in a very strong position on those freezer stairs. EFAC essentially has to try and watch, 2 angles at once, and that's not an easy task for him, especially that he has to do it himself because Shaiko has been taken out, but EFAC's just going to ignore them, only maybe just try and walk up into sight. Is anyone going to be there to stop him? Do they know he's there? That's the big question.
Lionscan's going to go out and give him a little bit of audio cover to be going in. The Dokkaebi call as well. They know that somebody's tucked, and he likely knows that somebody's here inside of Bumps, but he turns his back at the wrong moment. Renchi, it's all down to you, my friend, as he flies in through big window. BDS going for the same again there. They lost out on that roam clear and said, well, we're still going to hit the site. We'll try and catch them as they come back. They come with a gunfight. Yeah, it was an almost round at EFAC. You think about it, he kills that player inside of Kids. That opens up then potential for double win with the jump in. Maybe go for a plant. You have side control. 2 players are downstairs. Anything can happen, but no, just looks away at the wrong moment. M80 collecting good rounds. Spoit getting the opening pick. Obviously, just it stalls out BDS massively. BDS really rely on getting the first pick, but not the first pick in like a generic way. They want to get a first pick with a nade. That's what they're all about. We see BDS get tons of nade kills as their initial entry. And whenever you lose Shaiko and you can't do that, then it does cause issues, as we know. Kino just gets an easy 2-piece. And that's a player I also want to talk about. Kino versus Bride. That's a matchup that I really want to see. I said to Kino he slipped into my top 3 of best supports in the world. Yeah.
And I said to him, but you're still not number 1. The person you play tomorrow is number 1. You've earned your stripes. Let's see if you can get the promotion. And he even said that to even be considered in the same list as Bride, he takes that as such a genuine compliment because he actually looks up to him. That's actually who Kino thinks is the best player in the world on that role. So I said to him, if he beats Bride today, he's the best in the world.
Certainly a bold statement.
Anyone want to go against me in that one?
I'm sure there'll be somebody.
I don't think we'll find too many.
Spoit went for a pretty elongated run out there. He ended up getting a drone for his troubles, but he was outside for a good amount of time. We're going back downstairs. Now, this, of course, is the site that we saw BDS just sort of walk into in the round number 1. Alems was able to get a really easy challenge onto the player on long corridor and then just moves on in, picks up another, and well, the rest of the defense just collapsed.
Look how quick Shaiko's in. He's got a lot of yellow pings, so there is information being fed through by his teammate. M80 need to be careful. They do have, of course, Fenrir gadgets that they could use inside a kitchen, try and support those players. It looks as if since then, Ollie, they have just ran away. Back downstairs they go. Not looking to linger around in BDS now. They will have the majority of the map.
This is something that M80 did quite well in the previous map. Yeah, they had Iconic and Spoit off-site, but the remaining players did a really good job of just staying tucked. And I think moving into a more tucked playstyle on this site in particular is an even better idea. You give a little bit of a problem to sort of solve in the first couple of minutes of the round. You run out, you get a couple of drones, you make sure that they haven't got absolutely everything. Then you give them the rest of the map and you say, right, do with it what you will. And at this point, M80 are just banking on BDS spending quite a good amount of time getting rid of stuff. What an opener from Shaiko.
You've got a Wamai, and their nades are being thrown in free freezer hatch. Worrying for M80 to lose a player, and especially the smoke for this bomb site, Ollie. It's massive. Will cook another one, does get caught. No, still not getting caught. Spoit, where are your discs? There you go, but it's too late. He's no nades left.
Shaiko's nades have been spent. Alems does still have 1. Time is still ticking though, and Bride hasn't even opened up the bunker door yet, the bunker barricade.
Good time now, 45 seconds, don't have to worry about the smoke. You still have plenty of players healthy, which is an important thing. Still utility, look at the flashbangs, they have 5 of them only that they can use to try and clear this guy out a pillar, and also a shotgun primed and ready.
Leaky Fight's going to hit this drop, and it's going to be furious when he does. Renchi finds himself 1, Alems a 2nd, winning that heads-up engagement, but he is eventually cut down by Diaz, immediately traded out. Spoit left inside a freezer, grabs 1, plant now going down. Going to come off the plant for a time being. Still 20 seconds left. Leaky Fight going to think about replacing that plant, but Renchi knew all along where Spoit was hiding.
Yeah, easy enough for BDS just to clean up house. Just losing that opening engagement by the nades whenever the Wild Mice and freezer all, it's just, you almost bang your head against the wall thinking, how is that happening? M80
Shaco's been one of the best players on nades as well throughout this whole tournament.
Basement not working out for them. It really isn't. And because of that, now they're going to go to the third bomb site choice. They're going to go for that meeting, which is, I mean, probably better than the dining for the most part, in my opinion. I think it gives you more viable options for roaming. You can try and hold in towards attic. It also gives you a better chance for retake. So you're trying to retake a dining plan. Good luck with that. But certainly with the meeting, it gives you options. BDS, it was pretty clear cut. You know, it was basic, by the books. Nothing too flashy again. Just how they play Siege.
BDS is so good at finding that opening once they've won that initial gunfight, or once they've got that opening kill. And as you say, that opening kill often comes on Shaiko, and it is often a nade more than a gunfight. Especially being able to remove Kino. I mean, obviously you don't exactly know always who you're going to be going for there, but to take away the smoke, those toxic babe canisters, they eat up so much time. Still kind of surprised to not see M80 go for a Goyo in that previous round. I think Goyo on that site in particular can be fantastic. There are a couple of rounds left for defense here for M80, and they've opted to go to, as you said, what is largely considered a tertiary site. It's a third choice site. Sometimes fourth choice teams do sometimes prefer the other side of things, not including the meeting, so.
Look at their own game. Look at M80. Look at the structure that they have. It's almost like this triangle where they try and support one another as best as they can. In towards that kids, and Spoit takes a wonder, takes a bit of damage into the leg, but the overall structure, I think, of M80 it's looking good. They have the hatch open inside of attic. They can obviously try and hunker that down and make sure there's no access to the building. But for BDS, this is what we've seen time and time again, only where they will sometimes play a little bit more slow, a little bit more passive. Again, heavy focus on the nades that we keep talking about. Shaiku's so good with them. And I am really surprised that M80 haven't been bringing more denial for the nades.
Leak Effect's putting the hard yards in here as well. He's pretty much circling the map at the minute, just trying to find out as much information as possible. Where are these gadgets? Where are the dread mines? Where are the Valkyrie cameras? Where's potentially Solace playing? All that information available on IQ's scanner.
Spoit in the hot seat right now. Does he have a way out? The hatch is open for him, so he can drop off if needed, but he's just going to try and waste as much time as he can, get some more utility, gets the drone there, and now will drop off. But again, BDS, they'll be happy with that. They wanted the control of the top floor. Everyone from M80 now have retreated downstairs, so they will have to now try and hold in towards their objective. And the C4 gets prime, but nothing comes off. And EFAC gets the first pick. All that moving around outside finally gives them a kill.
No more C4s left now either. Gomez was the only one holding one. Now you've got the players from BDS in upstairs, and they're going to start to use the breaching charges to rip open that floor. Shaiko, we said he's good with nades, he's delivering, picks up another. Iconic, potential for a bit of a flank here. All depends on how good the flank watch is. There's no one dead from the side of BDS. There's going to be no one on cam. Lems, he will likely now flick onto the cam as he was taken out there by Kino. Iconic, getting an idea as to where this plant is going down, but he can't just walk in, surely. Shaiko, he's going to finish him off there with the knife. Kino now trying to join into the party, but it's almost a little bit too late. Bride, a second attempt on the plant. Shaiko picks up 3. Bride goes, you know what? I'll just come off it. I'll just find the final kill instead.
Easy again for BDS. Another round that they seemed in control of from the get-go. That's 2 rounds in a row where really M80 haven't fought back, haven't troubled BDS in the slightest, and again, the nades are potent. You look what's open. Every form of denial is open for them. Why are we not seeing it being brought more? It's a bit of a head scratcher. I think BDS, they've been very set in their ways this week where they will. They've been playing very heavily with the Dokkaebi Lion combination.
They love it,
haven't they? And it helps them a lot for people forget. Lion and Dokkaebi are great for, you know, spotting out people. If you hear a phone call, it's great, you know where someone is. But equally, if you don't hear anything on a call, you know that part of the map is free. It speeds you up because you know you don't have to drone. It's a very lazy way of droning if you think about it.
But that's what it is. It just means that you can be a little less thorough on your drone through. You don't need to check every single corner and behind every single sofa. You can instead just go a little bit of a light drone. Dokkaebi call comes through. Right, we're taking this as clear. If you know where they are, Demo, you also know where they're not.
Right. So if you know where they are, where they're not, that means you do know where they are.
If you know where they are, you know where they're not.
But if they're not there, then where are they?
Where they are. Which is downstairs. Going back down for a third attempt here. Look at the value, Leaky Fac. We always say that he's the real linchpin of this BDS side. He's currently Mr. Gadget Man. IQ last time, Twitch this time. Rinsing that utility that remains on site.
We went basement again. I wonder if M8 are going to drop off as quickly as they did, or will they actually go for a fight?
Oh my goodness, Lems, look at him go! Spoiting Gomez down for the count. Great play there from Lems, knowing that they're going to use that hatch to drop off.
Yeah, because they did it so early last time.
They did it last time.
Then they sent Lems for that very specific reason. You know, we didn't see no buck last time. That's a different change-up. So,
what are
BDS.
Iconic and Diaz doing it?
Well, they have to try and get some kills back, and they're going to try and cheese it, seems to be. Diaz almost baiting for Iconic. He's going to try and get a drone as it comes past, and obviously someone's going to be fixated on that staircase if they are. Speaking of said drone, Lems is very close to it, but doesn't actually drone down to the bottom of Tier 1. We'll instead try and see if they can go meeting. You can see the lion pings actually scanned out. I think it was Diaz on the stairs. Lems now will go for the drone. They see the default cam is up. And EFAC, he's just going to try and walk in because they know he's not actually in the site. He's on the staircase. A freebie for EFAC. And sure, Iconics went unchecked, but realistically, what impact is going to have in a 2v5? I don't know.
Well, he's going to have a big impact now. He's managed to creep his way back down the stairs. Kino taking a ton of damage. Renchi only moments away from spotting Iconic there. Iconic will pick himself up one, but should immediately be taken out and will be. But it wouldn't be around with Shaiko on nades if he didn't pick one up himself. Just before Renchi finds the final kill, Shaiko's nade lands true yet again.
It's a demolition job, isn't it? It really is for BDS. This is feeling very similar to what they did in their game yesterday against Falcons, Ollie, where they were just in the driving seat the whole time. M80 just look rattled. There's no real kills happening for them. I don't even think there's a single person positive on their team.
This was beautiful from Lems.
I mean, again, it's opportunity spawn for BDS has been very strong in this game. Even EFAC being able to move in, using that information, they know that there's a guy on the tower stairs. You've already killed 2 players. The likelihood of somebody also going to be in pillar is very rare because that guy on the stairs, that is the pillar player.
Yeah.
He's out of position. That's it, he's out of position. Free ball over the top.
If you know where they are, you know where they're not, and you know there's not one on pillar.
It's just probability, isn't it? It's just stats.
M80, they are clutching at straws 4 rounds on the defense here. Back upstairs to Kids Dorm we go.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
This round didn't really go to plan for BDS, first time. Lost out on their own. Spoit was successful with a kill onto Shaiko.
Just be careful.
Thinking about it.
There's a player. Towards the top of Tier 3, it will be Iconic, but instead thinks to go for the other rooftop. I wonder where he's going to try and end up.
Oh my goodness.
Do they know that someone's up there? I mean, the way he's playing it does feel as though he knows something's up. Just waiting for Iconic to smash the glass, and hopefully he can pick it up with that SMG. I mean, EFAC, he loves a good shotgun, Ollie. It seems to be a signature pick for him at the moment. And it's understandable. I mean, sure, the G8's good and all, Ollie, but you still have the SMG.
Iconic knows that he's out there now, so can either choose to do something about that or choose to ignore it for the time being. It's not necessarily a challenge you necessarily want to take.
I wonder what they're going to use EFAC for. Is it going to be a case of EFAC going in through the kids window, which is very risky, or really actually use it to go for the attic window? So there's 2 options that he could go for, but they are really locked in on Iconic at the moment. They know he's there, and he's actually away from the top of the tower, so he will be able to get in with the Gara hook. That will force Iconic away, so they have control of tower. You can see that he has hard breach gadgets as well, Ollie, so he could maybe try and push in towards attic.
It's always good to get that double-edged push coming through, especially if
you
can get somebody into attic. Shaiko for the time being, just nading out onto those white stairs. It'll remove the barbed wire that is on there. Spoiler has dropped off now as well, and with the breach getting open, Iconic's going to try and make his way back up the armory stairs.
I just feel as though BDS are going to get 5 kills in about 5 seconds here, Ollie. That's what it feels like. They're just getting in position. They're ready to strike at every possible limb of M80. There we go. Iconic, though, he will maybe try and stem it at the moment, but nope, 2 kills, 3 kills, there we go. That's what I mean, Ollie. You're waiting for it to happen. BDS, you can tell the structure, the shape of the attacks. They hit you from every angle. They don't allow you to breathe. They understand how to play this game at such a top level, and they're showing it. A 5-1 half. You won't get better halves in Oregon than that. Incredible stuff.
That's a fantastic half, considering you're on the attack for Oregon. They've really taken M80 to the cleaners there. They've got to do some soul searching. Of course, it's best of 5. We've got loads of maps available here. Isn't the end of the world if you lose the first ones, but it all starts to add into that little mental game. Certainly not the start I imagine M80 would have wished for, but on the side of BDS, they're almost home and dry here, Demo.
It's easy.
2 rounds on the defense.
It shouldn't be like this. I mean, Shaiko, he's sitting on 10 and 3.
Shaco's playing incredibly well. He owns that shower corridor. So patient. He barely moved his feet in that round. Gets up to the shower corridor, and then he just waits, because he knows that Spoit's inside of security. Spoit drops, gets caught looking the wrong way. The whole thing, it takes 3 minutes. It's a very technical dance.
So now for M8, I think you're in a position where you look at the kills on the board, everyone's playing them. Is this where you just write this game off? Just get it over and done with as quick as you can. Go next. Is that where we're at with M80? Because trying to fight back and have an equal, as great of a chance to attack as BDS is going to be difficult, especially whenever BDS are fired up. They will go for the Blitz. I said these teams are similar. Like, probably one of the most similar matches we've had in Siege of all time.
Something that isn't similar though, Demo. Look at the defender lineup here. We've got everything that we were asking for. We've got the Aruni, we've got the Wamai. We have tools to try and slow this push down and to eat up and chew through that utility. We've got the Banshees, perfect for countering the Blitz.
Yeah, interesting they went for the Banshees over the Fenrir, because you would argue that almost the Fenrir does make Banshee a little bit obsolete in many cases. Yeah, but then again, Warden, whenever you're against M80, and they will, you know, favor some of these more odd pushes, and especially Warden as an operator at the moment with the 1.5x. You have the C4 as well for denial, which is handy. He does fit a lot of rules. Even the shield if you want to bring it.
Big engagement here between Leak, Efak and Spoit.
Efak's trapped now.
Yeah, Spoit knows exactly where he is. We're going to see players now come up and through the stairs and try and assist. Spoit is going to be successful onto Efak. The back of some really good drone work there from his teammate as well.
Everyone else from BDS. Actually, we're missing one, Ollie. Oh, he's on the back stairs. Never mind. I didn't see Renshiro there. He's looking to get some drones. Hold on to the stairs as long as he can. But the Blitz, Ollie, that's what we need to look at. What is Iconic up to? What's the plan? Okay, a solo push Blitz. Nope, never mind. He's going to detour away from that. Maybe he's going to see if he can push down the backstairs, which isn't the greatest position as a Blitz to push down, because there's about 4 different angles you need to face check, which is a little bit scary if you're Blitz. I still think blue is a good way to go. Even Freezer's not too bad as well. I think pushing down Freezer's the Blitz gives you some options, mostly because you're just facing the one way, aren't you, for the most part?
I think Shaiko's been given a really easy get out of jail here. Because there's no one on that blue bunker, he can still rotate through blue, so whilst he's being pushed here and being pressured, he isn't being pushed too bad. It all depends on Iconic's timing here as to whether he is going to be able to get out of there, or whether the focus from an M80 will pay off. Brede comes in with a Toxic Babe canister just to assist him for the time being. Certainly targeting him here.
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything right now from M80. They're looking to push the tower stairs, looking to push in towards blue. Here comes the Blitz. Will get eliminated, Ollie. A massive kill for Shaiko. He's going to be down, but not in a position to get revived. The flashbang will find 2 of them. Renshiro and Shaiko both have to try and work together. Gomez eliminates 1, and BDS are battling back, but equally M80 are still in it. Spoit with his 2nd in the round. M80 are in the site, Ollie, but they're not going to go for the plant.
Great kill there from Shaiko, just rotating through elbow. He's still dominating here inside a bunker. The plant is going to start to go down now. Renshiro playing quite passively, needs to get himself down the stairs. Shaiko's just got the most important glimpse he could have done. 3 kills on the round, but finished off by Kino. Kino now is in a do or die, has to plant Renshi. This should be fairly straightforward as long as he's got the info, and it looks like he does. Renshi swings the corner. BDS continue this flawless streak here on Oregon.
Diffuser not getting planted, Ollie, really cost the M80. Sure, they're in the site, but you need to try and prioritize the plant as quick as you can. That kill on the Blitz cannot be valued more so than what's just happened. Because that's really the key of, I suppose, the engine for M80 is that Blitz down the back.
Shaiko was playing in the spot that's called Shaiko. He knows that spot inside and out. He could draw it with his eyes closed. If you don't open bunker door and don't cut off that rotation, then guess what? He is going to rotate. He is going to punish it. If you open it too late and you open it as a blitz that hasn't got a weapon pointed at you, that's at a distance that's too far for the flash. That's at a distance that's too far for the flash to actually do anything. You're going to lose.
Yeah, well, what you need, if you're having the blitz come in through the back, you also need people dropping E-box to put pressure on.
You need somebody else.
Like
yeah,
Shaiko.
you need a buddy.
I'm shocked that they... Did they actually open up Shaiko's wall for
Yeah,
hatch?
they did.
Why is no one...
There was like 3 X-Kairos pellets holes in it.
Should be covered. You need to have that covered.
5 seconds.
BDS just on top again, aren't they? I mean, Spoit tried to get some kills back in that round, but... And keep in mind, he also lost the first pick. They lost Defag. We highlight
on their own.
We highlight so much about the basement as well. It's all about a numbers game, isn't it? Because it'd just be a case of trade. Whoever ever ends up most, that's it. And if you're giving away the free kills to defenders, that's one less power position you can have towards Pillar and towards Laundry. Yeah, it makes a big difference. And for M80 still to struggle, it almost felt as though half of them were doing one thing, the other half were doing the other. Yeah. There was no real indication. You don't split. I don't like split pushes in that. You commit to one side. You don't try and do everything, because it's not going to work.
Match point for map number 1 here for BDS. They got an opportunity to take this one relatively quickly. 7-1 would be a damning scoreline to kick things off here tonight. Going to be attacking into that second floor. Very quiet.
Yes.
M80 are absolutely everywhere at the minute as well. Look at Gomez.
This is what happens.
Leaky Fag's literally waiting for him at the top of these freezer stairs, by the way. Hello, Leaky Fag. Wakey, wakey. There's somebody coming up your stairs.
Gomez springs into him. And he said it feels very quiet. It just feels like one of those times where I think we've all been there. Where I think the stack just... You know you're done. Like, you know you're beat. You know you're beat. That's what it feels like for M80.
No disband after this. They're going to keep playing.
Oh, no, this is you're off. Oh, but maybe
what
not.
A kill from Spoit. Diaz piling in as well. Might be quiet. Quietly getting the job done here. M80 lead by a landslide. 5-2 here. Renchi needs to try and get something back here. It's aggressive peeking onto big window, but he's got to try and do something to alleviate this pressure. He's able to land the shots, and Diaz is going to find him. Shaiko. If ever the time to live up to your name, it's now. A lot of information, but full white flashed, unlikely to do much, and Diaz finishes things off. Much better round from M80.
Yeah.
Although we didn't get to see a great deal of it because everyone did their own thing.
Yeah, it was just Spoit holds the helm. 2 kills in that round in the early engagements, and just a number game again for Oregon. BDS will have plenty more rounds to close out the map. Of course, only 6-2 they lead. Set themselves up nicely with their first half, and Gomez gets a freebie and goes versus Spoit. That battle, Spoit's going to try and see if he can pull back some kills and maybe try and catch up to Shaiko, but there's a big difference, Ollie, with the amount of kills Shaiko has at the moment. 14 so far, and still a chance to get more.
So much info available there. You get to see that when we watch the replays, of course. You get to see those yellow pings that are coming through and the red pings. There was a lot of information available there for M80. A reattempt. Oh no, not a reattempt, excuse me. We're going to be going downstairs.
Yeah, dining as well, which we haven't seen. It was meeting was the choice for M80. So the difference is between both of them. Meeting will give you more chances to retain, but it will give, I think, the attackers a much better chance to establish map control. Whereas if you look at dining, for example, there ain't too much map control M80 can really have apart from small tower. That's what we see. But retaking in towards showers as a defender can sometimes be tricky, but then there is some options for, small tower holes, which can delay a lot of time. You either go big or go home for this. It's either you're going to win in a landslide or you're going to lose in a landslide. There aren't too many close rounds for this one.
And Alems is in that do-or-die position, right? He's in a spot where he's either going to get a few kills or he's going to get dealt with very quickly. If we look at the way that M80 are circling right now, seems to be like they're going to pay him quite a bit of attention up there. We do need to take control of that top floor.
No nades.
We're going to play the long angle. No nades is criminal for this attempt.
Big issue with dealing with someone inside a small tower. And I mean, I wouldn't say Lambs is like hunkered down, fortified, not a shield buff. It's just him and a couple of Wamai discs and a mute jammer. That's it. Let's see if he can hold out as the flashbangs start to rip in, but there's no nades. As we know, Spoit is almost moved in towards the staircase. The Lambs get swung. There's a shotgun from Gomez. Who needs nades when you have a skeleton key?
Skeleton key and a load of stuns to throw in as well. They're not going to damage him, but they're at least going to render him pretty useless. Would have been a bad idea to play a Warden up in there, but of course you do need the Wamai in case you do bring the nades. Leaky Fact is going to take a chunk load of damage just outside of Shower's corridor, but fortunately we have a medic on the side. Renshi, he's going to be playing on the dock. M80 did a great job of rooting Glems out of tower, but they haven't really done too much else.
So they have small tower, and realistically, that's all you need to really make this push a success. This is your staging ground. The worry I have is, what are they going to do with the Sense? Because they need to work a charm, because that's the only way that they're going to try and disrupt the sightlines and the vision. But BDS will bounce back with 2 kills. They need to get a Sense in the position where they can try and get that plant down. On this attack, it's all about getting the plant because it's such a difficult retake for the attack or for the defenders. Once the attackers are in prime position, that they'll win it outright. But they need to get this wall open, Ollie. This is the issue. They need to get hard breach gadgets in from Iconic. Where is he? Where is Iconic? There he is.
We'll look to get the soft wall open now as the Sense is going to go through. We're going to double throw there and
they're not opening the wall?
Potentially try and get the plant down behind it.
I want to try and see if you can maybe just plant in behind the bomb, but then if you haven't cleared Showers, Rene can walk through, but Gomez is there. Efac, oh, he gets shredded. Gomez on for the ace, Ollie.
Shaiko in the hot seat once again. He's got a bit of info here. He knows exactly where Iconic is. He's going to land a couple of shots. 1 versus 1. Shaiko takes it. BDS. Map 1 in the books. A devastating attacking phase from them here on Oregon. Left themselves light work to do on the defense, only requiring 2 rounds. What a performance from BDS. That's one way to stamp your authority down as reigning Gamers8 champions in a best-of-5 series grand final.
Is this a quick day? Don't say that. Don't say it so, Ollie. Can't be. Can't be this easy. There's no way.
I don't think it's easy. I think BDS are on fire, mate.
Honestly, I think yesterday we seen that Falcons game, that's where they showed their dominance. And to see them carry on over today, yeah, M80, they need to get their heads out of the cloud and get stuck into this game.
We're going to hit a short break. We'll be back with our desk. Don't go anywhere.
الحياة لحن، ولأننا جزء من مقطوعة عظيمة تحركنا، تلمسنا، تصنع من لحظاتنا ذكريات بديعة. لأن الوجبة، التجربة، المغامرة يعطيك بعد جديد في هيلتون الرياض.
All new Honor Magic 5 Pro. Freeze even fleeting emotions in just milliseconds. Take marvelous night shots with lightning-fast exposure. The display reveals more details in bright areas with an astonishingly long battery life that just keeps going. The latest flagship chipset brings you exceptional performance. Unleash the power of magic. Honor Magic 5 Pro.
When the moon rises, the flame is ignited. We're stronger together and weaker
into your heart. Tell me what it is you seek. Jupiter and Mars fall into my arms. I got everything you need. Oh, don't wait too long. We don't have much time to spare. This could all be gone tomorrow. So all I need right now is your love. Taking me higher, taking me higher. So when the moon rises.
BDS putting themselves in the lead by securing their own map pick, Oregon, and in what way of a dominant fashion that was. Welcome to the SCC post-map, where we're going to be breaking down exactly what we just saw, because I saw domination from BDS, and M80 didn't really manage to break them out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of saw why this was the first map pick from BDS, right? A lot of struggles coming through from M80, especially on that defensive side. You know, they really did struggle to get anything going. Oregon, obviously a map where you kind of expect to start well on the defense. You got some really strong sites down in the basement. Top 4 is pretty good too, but M80 didn't find anything that first half.
I feel like they had the preparation done, obviously, because we saw, for example, Capcom traps on the windows in Tier 3. We know that the BDS players like to jump into that. But then if you have your plan set, that's really nice, but you also have to have a plan for recovery in case something doesn't go the way you thought it was going to go. Oftentimes we saw players, for example, in Laundry dying by nades through basement and then not really being able to recover from that in that same round.
Yeah, and then, you know, they swapped sides, and I thought it was a bit better for M80. I know they only got one attack, or one round on attack anyways, but it still felt like they were having a bit more of a chance, right, in those early rounds. They weren't constantly getting rolled over on the roam clear. You know, they were doing better to the start, but then things kind of fall apart. You know, Shaiko stopping the ace from Gomez towards that end final round. You should be able to maybe attack onto Meeting and Dining. That's the site that you really want to take as the attackers. And again, there was good stuff going on. Gomez clearing out small tower. You know, they had the preparation, the Sens wall. There wasn't really an answer to one impact, and they took care of that guy. But again, it kind of just falls apart in the end. That late chaos, I think, from M80. I said I wanted to see them playing together and trading each other on the pregame desk. We didn't really see that.
Yeah, it felt like the M80 that we saw show up yesterday against W7M wasn't here on the server, but it feels like BDS has just been continuously evolving throughout this tournament.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, the refrags were there more for BDS as they were for M80. We talked about, for example, Bride going into this game, yesterday having 50% of his deaths traded out, for example. For M80, that was less the case, I guess, specifically on their defensive rounds. I was really excited for this take on the kitchen and dining to see what they were planning on with the Sens wall. And then there is the quad kill from Gomez, but it's just sheer confidence from those BDS players as well. You're in a 1v1 situation, someone just got a quad kill against you, and you're peeking that person on the kitchen door whilst they have that many different options to peek you from. It just shows confidence. And for Shaiko, I mean, leading the scoreboard with an 89% cost, 16-5 scoreline. That's very impressive.
Yeah, everybody on BDS had a good game. I even want to highlight Alems. I know he's bottom of the scoreboard there, 5-8, but I thought he was doing really good. That big buck play to shut down the freezer roam coming through in the final time that they attempted Laundry. He was on point on a couple of those rounds where they were getting into the basement bomb site. He had a tough job sometimes there, but I thought he was doing a really good job. So everybody on the side of BDS showing up, feeling pretty comfy on their map pick, and yeah, feeling pretty good.
Yeah. I'm very bad at maths, but
that's okay, same. No
I looked at the scoreboard and I saw Shaiko with a 2.22 rating, and I feel like that's combined at least 3 of the players on the side of M80. So that's outrageous.
Okay, well, if you feel like that's the correct math, we're just gonna roll with it, and we're gonna stick to that storyline. But in general, when we're looking at BDS, we have a couple of highlights as well that we're gonna go through later, and that is just the fact that they just, if it's not broke, don't fix it. They were continuously going to the same way, and M80 didn't find a response.
I mean, there's a reason why there's a certain point on this map called Shaiko, right? I mean, he was playing there, he was getting kills on that map, but utilizing power positions was done very well by BDS, but they also knew what were really important positions for the M80 players when they were on their own attacks. I talked about those nades coming down the freezer hatch, for example, clearing out such positions, having the information as to where the players are pushing from, but also on their defense, the little micromanagement of those barricades on the first first floor with the laundry defenses, just making it more difficult for those M80 players to easily take control over the meeting section, over the lobby section, just wasting their time and making them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you can take a look, and you mentioned the nade game coming in from BDS. That was huge for them, and I think a big reason why they was able to be so successful is they didn't really have magnets out on the field. You know, the Wamai was getting played, Spoit was running on it, but he played such an aggressive position, and he honestly was going down so often with him and Gomez off on the roam. It really meant that they couldn't get those magnets up, and so often you see Shaiko tossing a nade down a hatch, and he's very, very good at finding those picks with it. So, you know, that's another thing where you're taking a look at it, and you're like, maybe something could have gone better here.
Yeah, very specific highlights as well to that were round 1, 3, and 5, where BDS was just sticking to the exact same bomb site, and M80 didn't seem to have an answer for it.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is the basement push, right? This is where every single time M80 tried to lock it down, it's the strongest site on the map. Yep. You need to be able to hold this bomb site if you're going to be defending on Oregon, and M80 clearly just couldn't. It felt like they really wanted to play a roam game. They didn't want to go full 5-man anchor, and that's fine. But if you're going to do that, your roamers need to be able to have an impact against the rushes, like here in round 1, to be able to come back and stop this, or they need to be able to win those fights and find the advantage for you early on in the round when they're playing those top couple of floors, and they just were never able to pull that off.
Side was pretty clear for the BDS players at times. I mean, the fact that you're 5-man on site, you can get the diffuser down, and that's still in the process of where the M80 players have to come back. That is indeed not adapting to a rush fast enough. The nades, once again, coming out from the BDS players to really push M80 out of those power positions. A very good understanding. And I mean, if you have a plan, you keep on doing that for the laundry attack. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what the plan that they stuck to as well. But it then brings a question in terms of M80. We said it as well, Oregon is one of those maps that we've seen BDS play on before, so this is something that they must have been aware of. M80 must have been aware that this would be a play that BDS would throw at them a couple of times.
Yeah, but are BDS that comfortable on the map like Oregon? I feel like it's not their highest preference map, for example. Yeah, of course they have experience on it, but it's not. For example, the fact that this was the first map, I mean, obviously seeing what BDS have done on this map, it makes a lot of sense. But yeah. I think before this game, I was like, okay, well, Oregon so early on, that's interesting. It's not your most favorite map, for example.
Yeah, but I think, again, like, this is just such a weak map for M80, and we've seen that through history. We've seen that now again today. I thought maybe there was something cooking in the background. There wasn't. They really didn't have anything coming clean on Oregon, at least nothing that BDS was, you know, jumping in to try. But I think if you're M80, you shake this one off. You know, I don't think you were ever intending on winning Oregon. You don't like this map. It's a best of 5 for a reason, right? And I think we've seen throughout this tournament, M80, they've had non-stop 3-game series, okay? They know what it's like to lose a map. They know what it's like to go down. And now's the time where they got to talk with their coach, talk with their team, bounce back because it's their map pick coming up.
Yeah, it also brings the question, though. We're going to be heading into Border next, which is their map pick. And, you know, it's a 7-2 loss. It's not the easiest ones to digest, so what can we expect from M80 coming into this? Because it's their map pick, and you'd assume it's their most comfortable one.
Well, M80 also have a 7-2 on this map, but then in the positive way, they beat Ninjas in Pajamas 7-2 on this map during this tournament. It's a higher preference map for them as well, so they must be feeling more comfortable going into this one. For BDS, it's a bit of a lower preference. They don't usually pick this map, but they're very, very common with getting this map picked against them. So they have played it. Teams pick it against BDS quite often in those best of 3 scenarios. We're talking best of 5 right now, so it's not uncommon ground for them.
Certainly not. I mean, it's one of their most played maps here, coming to Border on the side of M80. They're very comfy here. As Anne said, you know, it's not a flawless record, but recently I think it's been pretty solid. You know, they lost to Dark Zero in the GWB Grand Finals, but it was a 7-5. It was a close game against a good team. And then they beat NIP here at Gamers8. So they've got a good record on it. I think they are very comfy here. I don't think it's going to be as one-sided as what we just saw from BDS, but I do think that we should still be expecting M80 to be the favorites on Border.
Is there a world where we could be expecting BDS to be the most comfortable on this map?
It depends. I feel like the confidence, like we saw, for example, in Shaiko, could be a really big factor on this map, because if you play this really aggressively and you go for very swift and smooth attacks, or you go for big roam plays, yeah, I think confidence can help in that, and that's probably what BDS must be feeling right now. Then again, it puts the question mark for M80. If their roam wasn't the greatest on Oregon, how will it be like on Border?
Yeah, I don't think I see Border being a super strong map for BDS. You know, they struggled against Dun Limited earlier this year in Stage 1, 8-7. They just won that map, and then they lost to M&M. They beat Wild in the GWB Grand Finals. That's an important game, obviously, to get here, right?
Yeah.
Wild's a good team, a team that certainly BDS have struggled with in the past. But you look back, even to SI, this has always kind of been a map where BDS have had their struggles. So I would be very shocked if this was a map where BDS came out as the more comfortable team. But I mean, they're a great squad, right? And you never can count out Shaiko and Liquifact.
Yeah, a little bit of a headset issue, so we're going to wait to load into game. But I want to dissect it further when you're mentioning BDS and this always being a map that they've had a little bit of a struggle on. Admittedly, BDS had struggled this year as well when we're looking at their performance in EU, the fact that it even make it to the Copenhagen Major. It means that BDS is not coming out here swinging. It feels like this is not the BDS that we could say could potentially be struggling, because it feels like it's a whole different team. They just somehow found that one switch and clicked it.
It's what they said, right? They said, oh, you know, after our games, I think they said this during the Gamers Without Borders qualifiers, we had to change our whole style of playing. We had to change like towards the current meta that's going on right now. We all know it's very aggressive. All players need to be able to carry their weight. We talked about Shaiko and Liquifact being the spearhead of this team. So for them to have to change their entire playstyle, their entire meta after SI, after EUL Stage 1 really, because that was a pretty poor result for them too. I mean, having struggled previously on this map, if you've changed your playstyle, if you can fit more into the current meta playing aggressive on a map like Border, for example, as well, that could be a really good prospect for them.
Yeah, we've got some time here, so I went back, looked through the notes of that BDS versus Wild game back at Gamers Without Borders, and there's one name that keeps popping up in my notes here, and it's Liquifact. He started off kind of slow when they were initially playing that map. He's trying some gimmicky stuff like Glaz strats, and I felt like BDS were losing some fights they shouldn't. But then at about the kind of second quarter mark, he really started to pop off, making great late moves on attack, switching over to defense, going even harder, all by himself, off on the roam, finding so much value. So he's usually the player to watch, but I think particularly in this match, on this map, he can kind of be that key, that answer to BDS's struggles in the past here on Border. And if we see him once again making those big plays on defense and maybe staying away from the Glaz shenanigans, whatever, I think they could be okay.
Yeah, you talk about big plays on defense. Efex also got 2 opening deaths on defense just now in the previous game, so that's
not
obviously not a good sign. It could spark some hope maybe for M80, but I did also see that the BDS players look very comfortable. The coach just sat behind them doing some giggling, some laughing. It looked very comfortable and relaxed.
I mean, you gotta be comfortable and relaxed, right? You're gonna be heading into the second one of the best of 5, so you don't want to be too nervous. Because then if you're a little nervous, it's gonna get a little scary, because at the end of the day, the winner of this best of 5 is gonna be crowned $750,000. So will M80 find a way to climb back into the game, or is BDS going to be extending their undefeated run into this final and hold on to that crown of being the Gamers8 champions? Let's find out as we head into Border with Demo and Ollie.
Thank you very much, Ginny. Welcome back to the casting box, myself and Demo. Map 1 flew by. If you missed it, 7-1. Very convincing performance from BDS. Now we move on to a very different map stylistically, Demo. We move on to Border. Border is somewhere that we have seen BDS struggle so far in this very competition. And on the flip side, we know that it's a map that plays into some of the strengths that M80 possess very nicely.
Good map for M80, great map for them. They understand the way you play Border extremely well, where you need to try and hit every possible angle, put as much pressure as you can against your opponent. And the opportunity spotting will be in just a sheer amount of value in this map, because there's always going to be some point of weakness for Border. That's, I would say, probably a downside of it is very difficult to hold from a defender's perspective, because there's so many ways into the map. You actually think about it, Ollie. That's one of the main issues with it from the defensive standpoint. But of course, as an attack, you're loving that. You have so many options for the attacks. You can get really creative. We barely see armory attacks now. Barely see them.
Very rare to see. One of our favourites there being picked, Doc. In flashbacks to NIP.
There's no Psycho. There's no Psycho here.
Could be played in a similar way though, you better believe it.
I'll tell you who's playing like a Psycho. Shaiko.
True.
Look at him last game, and just something about this competition with him. Is it maybe the big gift prize we have to offer for the best player?
The MVP
I'm
award?
not sure.
I don't think it's quite as big as it was last year. He obviously walked away with the MVP last year.
Still big enough.
Last year it was worth 100,000. I think, I almost want to say, I think is it 20,000 this year?
Oh no.
No, but it's still, you know, it's, maybe that's what gets Shaiko going, you know? Maybe he's like a gamer's version of Ronnie O'Sullivan. You ever seen that clip of Ronnie? Asked what the record was for, asked what the prize was for a 147 break.
Pod at the pink deliberately.
Yeah, missed the 147 on purpose.
I've seen Ronnie. But, you know, to Shaiko, it's qualify for Copenhagen Major, I sleep. Win individual prize at Gamers8, I awake.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Well, there's still a long way to go yet. We've got to navigate this border game first.
So it seems to be just a 1-4 split. You've got a lone Solus downstairs who will be hopefully down there to see if he can find some information. The thing about border as well is Solus gets a lot of value because it is a very small map. You can see the majority of windows, balconies, just whatever side of the map you want to go to, you will be able to move around very, very quickly. And hopefully we will see some information being distributed over to players in some hot positions, such as Renchi, for example. You always think about this Brazil corner and just say, yes, it's not for the faint of heart, is it?
It really isn't. That's why you play the dock there, to give yourself a little bit of extra juice if you need it. Nice that he's got a little bit of support below as well. He knows that he's not just going to get instant-naded out of nowhere. Leaky Fat can at least give him the heads up if that's something that's going to happen. Kino gathering quite a bit of value on the old Brava drone.
Can't get sandwich roller only with that Ute Jammer in place, so they have to work a little bit harder. No nades on the line for M80 again. We've seen that a few times in Oregon, which was always a bit of a concern, especially if you think about a map like Border, where there is plenty of nade spots, especially from below. They have impact DMPs from Diaz, so they could utilize them. But for M80, they're not really getting the picks. I say that, though. Iconic has opened up with the most important one. Will eliminate the player inside Brazil. Security will go in favor of M80, and that can really where you start to shift the focus now, where you can start to really rip players out of these positions because they just don't have the security, and that's exactly what's happening. It took a while for M80 to get things going, but now it really is working for the BDS under a heck of a lot of pressure. M80 sweep BDS in the first round.
When it rains, it pours for kills for M80. Kills coming in thick and fast. We're certainly going to need the replays to go through and dissect a couple of those, but the most important one was the first. And that was on to Renshiro playing inside of security. Difficult position to play. Jumping up on the table, trying to keep an eye on break door, worrying about the balcony. You've got a lot of points of contact that you've got to keep in mind there. Iconic was able to find that opener.
Great shot as well. Good reactions from him. And then as you can see, you lose security, you lose main wall, and everything else just falls around you. Then he's able just to move straight on in through Armory. Finds more of them. Great round from Iconic for the most part. And overall for M80, that's what they wanted, to get things off in good fashion.
They needed a bit of confidence, didn't they? Especially after that mudding over on Oregon, they needed a little bit of something.
Out of all the maps that we're going to be seeing here played today, this will be the map that you would most favor M80.
In the same vein as that you would say Oregon most favors BDS. You know,
it's the first map choice for either side.
Exactly. Let's not make any sort of secrets about this. This is a best of 5. This isn't a case of go out there and win every single map and make it a 3-0. This is a case of, okay, we're going to win our maps, and then we're going to make sure we get ourselves on a good decider.
Yeah, it's just a best of 3 with extra steps. That's all it is. So this is the opportunity spotting that I'm talking about with M80. They like to use the Brava quite a lot to see if they can take down some big pieces of information to allow players such as Spoy just to walk on through and create chaos, but he's not going to get the chance, Ollie, as he has been taken out very, very early on. Now BDS, they are in control. They get the first pick this time around, and it'll be interesting to see how M80 actually pull back, because I feel whenever they played against NIP Ollie in this map, M80 never looked as if they were behind. They were always playing from the front.
So it's difficult when you lose somebody like Spoit as well, who is designed to be that sort of backstab player and designed for the whole team to work around him. That's a big, big void to fill now for one of the remaining players left alive. Iconic, just going to gather a little bit of info here on the drone. can, of course, feed that through to Kino. Just threatening to make that rotation up to the top of main stairs. They know there are a couple of players up inside of Armory. Alems being one of them. Going to get softened up just a little bit. Now going to see the player drop off ventilation, though. Alems is on his own up here, but he's doing quite a good job of wasting the clock.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. Obviously, he can clear away a lot of the drones as well. It gets sent his way, and M80. This is where losing Spoit to be that main focus to push in, it's going to cause them issues. Shaco and Bride maybe looking for a double. I'm really trying to see if they can retake in towards Customs, which is a location that M80 have got themselves into a good position, but as long as Alems is here, they're going to have issues. A great rotate from Iconic only hits them towards east, and that will create issues now for BDS as they have lost the top floor, and with still a minute to go, M80, they have plenty of time to start ripping up that floor.
Leakyfight's got himself into Passport here. Good C4 to just bring the balance back somewhat. Bold play from Leakyfight, just flying himself through the wall. I think that Diaz even heard the first breakthrough just based on pure sound alone. That's left Shaco and Breedo in quite the predicament. There's going to be a bit of information available here. The Brava drones coming through. Those default cameras are not always your friend as a defender now with Brava in the mix. Can be hacked and, of course, used against you.
And Brady has no C4. There's no real denial if a defuse does start to happen. Shaco, an important kill, that loses the Customs. Kira then has to swing, and Shaco takes advantage of that. Shaco putting the team on his back. We should have seen the flank go down ages ago, Wally, but the fact that Diaz lost that pick has put them in quite a predicament. Iconic, he's 4-0 right now, Wally, but I feel as though he's gonna get his first death, as all it takes is Brady to fire for the smoke. He knows exactly where he is. And BDS, they respond 1-1.
There's one person you want in that situation, it is Bride. Cold as ice. Even with the clock going down, even with someone as dangerous as Iconic on the other side.
What's colder than ice? Dry ice.
Is it? Is that factual?
Don't know. Probably.
It doesn't sound as good though. Leveling things up, 1 round apiece here. Huge play from Shaco. Kicks things off with this cracker over onto Spoit. And I think M80 did a really good job to stabilize as well. They managed to root Alems out. It did take quite a lot of time. It took quite a bit of utility, but they got the job done. When they got that top floor control, they could then start to work through it. At this point, I thought it was lost.
This is it. All Diaz needs to do is just hold the cross. You have one player holding Bride, so he cannot move Workshop and deny the plant. All Diaz had to do was hold Shaco. Let him plant on the doorway. It's simple, but people overswing, people overpeak, people aren't on the same wavelength. Issues happen. And to beat this BDS team, Ollie, M80 can't make mistakes. They need to play perfect. You need to.
You can't make mistakes like that.
Because that's a simple communication error. That's all that is.
Especially when it's 3v2, you've got the option to get the plant down. You know at least where one of them is. Potentially know where the other one is. Just hold the crosses. We haven't seen it be a very plant-focused game of Siege so far. Both teams have been hesitant to get that diffuser down. We saw a couple of times on Oregon, teams almost 3/4 getting it down, then coming off. And that was for both sides. So Bride do it once.
I think it's just the way that the teams are playing at the moment, where it is all about kills, and especially for a map like Border, it's very rare you would get the plant down unless it's in a situation of rushing. Try and get it down as quick as you can, but we see a lot of kills just happen on Border. You very rarely get down to the nitty-gritty of, oh, we have to prioritize that diffuser, but I would say that I think M80 have been just a little bit too slow, I think, for the pacing that you need to have for Border. That'll help them a lot. Good pacing will be established if you get that early first pick. Honestly, the first blood really dictates how Border plays out for either side, because there is so much ground you have to cover, so many angles that you need to try and hold on to. The attackers are obviously going to want that extra man to see if they can flank and hit them with a backstab. But equally for the defenders, if you lose a player in an important room, the whole operation goes kaput.
BDS are going to now try and find that one back. Spoit going to take a little bit of damage there as he moves through Armory. Renchi hiding out inside a fountain. He does have the Dread Mine ahead of him, so he will get a little bit of a heads up there if somebody pushes through, but with the wall getting open behind him, he's going to get forced into the corner. Lems good C4 there over onto Spoit. Lems is doing a really good job of just staying alive here, and Renchi as well. This is what you got to, you can't overpeak. You've got that man advantage back now, it's level. You need to just see if you can play and force those attackers to try and push on in. He has got the use of his utility as well, still just inside of Archives.
What I really love about the BDS hold that we're seeing is Renchi's almost trying to tell Shaiko where they're not, to allow Shaiko to gain ground to get kills back. That's the idea that they're going for. And Renchi, if he goes on Chenkle, is this Fenrir, could cause issues, but never mind. M80 will find 2 kills. Alems responds with 1, and Alems going for a very aggressive approach. Ollie going straight for the flank. M80 a little bit low on drones, as we know, Ollie. This is where they can really take advantage. BDS, Shaiko inside the site, finds a freebie. They have no idea. Jumps over into Bathroom alongside and will drop that player with the diffuser. M80, a shambolic hold. That flank comes in.
Shaiko's on 1 HP here. He's got to play this to perfection. The diffuser is going to be cold. Iconic's probably got a pretty good idea as to where he is, but he has to check every single one of these stalls. Is Shaiko going to get the heads up? No! Iconic. He only needed to land 1. And he landed it.
Oh, we needed that.
M80 hanging on in there. That would have been another one of those rounds that you look back on and go, we should be winning that.
Just the drones need to come in quicker. They should know that Shaiko's in sight. It's worrying, but they still get away with it in the end of things. That early pick always is going to help. A needless swing there, it has to be said, from EFAC. And EFAC, I feel as though he has the tendencies at the moment where he's either there or he's not. We've seen it yesterday. I would say we've seen it today, where he had a good first game, but now at the moment he's starting to not really have any impact, apart from giving some of the attackers an opening pick stats.
10 seconds left.
Alem's got caught wandering there a little bit as well. I don't think that they knew where that final player was. We've got Iconic, he's just picked up a kill, and he's getting the goo mine out of his foot, so there's a good amount of sound indication there to know that he's going to be in the corridor, and Alems just gets caught wandering there a little bit inside of office. Obviously he's got Shaiko below, and he's going to try and buddy up and play around that diffuser. But you just got to wonder, is there a way where BDS could have just taken a little bit of a step back there? Because there's only about 15 seconds.
Well, the thing is with that bomb site on Bathroom Tellers is I feel as though the biggest advantage that the defenders will have is you can extend out towards customs, you can extend out in toward ventilation room workshop. BDS didn't really look to try and hold that very aggressively, which I think you need to do on a map like Border. Border's all about just don't let them in the building. BDS, I would say, haven't really been doing that.
Info here available for Kino. Shaiko's been playing pretty aggressively up against the windows, looking for trouble. Going to keep himself safe for the time being, as Iconic maybe thinking about a little bit of a nade through the top. It's not every day we see this M80 side bring in the nades. It'd be nice to see him get some value out of it.
Avanosa also comes into the fray of things. Osa's going to be good for 2 reasons. One, obviously you just get to walk into the A-bomb site and go for the plant, which we see a lot of times. But Osa's also really good for setting up a shield towards east. You can then lock down the majority of that main corridor. You can just hold anyone who tries to cross in through the double doors, over towards the rotation, towards Brazil, and oh, Spoit! Oh, a beautiful double kill. As easy as you like. Jesse J. Chick, eat your heart out.
Could have been an ace for him there with the way that those 2 players lined up beautifully. Still on for it. Alems going to take a chunk load of damage. Brede as well. This is when M80 can just start to tighten that net. Diaz is going to find one onto Alems. Spoit eventually taken down by Brede, but only ever going to be a matter of time. M80 are warming up into this one.
Yeah, this is what you expect to see from this side on Border. They're quick, they're tenacious, they're vicious more than anything. You know, they see an opportunity that they'll exploit you. Exploit you? Is that maybe what they'll do?
I like it.
That shouldn't be happening though from BDS. They lose Shaiko, who was on towards east.
Shaiko was asking for trouble to start that round.
Why is that? Yeah. Why is BDS not clicking onto that? Oh, we just lost the guy on east. Maybe we shouldn't stand to get shot from east.
Yeah, Shaiko was asking for trouble from the word go on that round. He was right up against the windows. Kino had the info on the drone.
Why is he in east if he knows that Shaiko's died, and then why is he exposed himself in Brazil? That is sloppy from BDS. That's poor. That shouldn't be happening.
As soon as you get into the heart of that map, as soon as you get onto 90 or get that good control established of east, it just falls like a deck of cards.
That's it. First pick. It's all about the first pick.
M80 will be happy with that one. They certainly needed it. They need that little confidence boost. Every round that goes by at this rate, Origin becomes an even further memory. See if they can continue this sweep here on border. It is a map that we see attackers have a good time on. Not always as good as a 5-1 split though, Demo, which is still on the cards here.
The Brava's gotten great value for M80 over the course of this tournament.
Yeah,
I'm seeing all 3 charges get used up every single time with very, very little leeway. I think that BDS... it's not the case if I don't think that they're really after the Brava drones. I just don't think they're in good positions because they have to play so passive. It's very difficult to deny drones coming in towards East. You can't really hold that well. I think mute jammers on border, they're good in some instances on particular rooms, but like you look at security, for example, you can't get any good mute jammers in there to really deny the information game. Oh, Gomez almost catches Shaiko as he sprints across. Gets back to the safety of his teammates. But again, just the information game from Kino. He's just switching back and forth between the drones, Ollie. Seeing if he can catch anything. Even a mute jammer to stop him again. It's really free reign for the Bravo drones in this game.
Kino's getting really good value out of it. There's been a number of players on M80 that have actually picked up Brava and played it. The opening battle reigns on. This time we can chalk one up for Shaiko. Takes Spoit down, but Gomez says, well, I'm just going to push the site. Gets a kill with the Skeleton Key, but immediately taken out. He's able to get LMs, though, before Shaiko sees to it. His second kill is marked up for this round. Leaky Fact down below, beyond the Oryx. Gets himself into a little bit of hot bother, but a bit of a 1-2 punch there from BDS as Brede swings around and finishes things off with the shotgun. C4 from below. Kino, I think they know you're there, buddy.
BDS have done what you asked for. You want to see them drop off a little bit more earlier, Ollie. Really make M80 work through it. Yeah. Waste the utility, waste the timing more than anything, and they've been rewarded for it as BDS are up in numbers, and Iconic gets a freebie. Oh, almost finds a second EFAC. How's he not there for the refrac? I want to know. He will make it up for it, though. Eventually gets the kills, and EFAC, welcome to the server, my friend.
Not had the greatest game so far, but maybe redeemed himself in that round in particular. We talk about players that can clutch. You don't want to give any single one of these 10 players in the lobby an opportunity to clutch.
Because all had big moments, yeah.
All of them can do it. You see it being a, 3 versus 1, 4 versus 1. Those first 1 or 2 kills come through quite quickly, all bets are off. Anything could happen.
Gomez, he's been good with his Skeleton Key today,
He loves it, doesn't he?
He's been ripping into them as if that's almost a buck just as a primary shotgun, but no. It's just the undergarment. I thought, EFAC, I mean, a little bit bait here, buddy, but
it got the job done, didn't it?
There's big Renchi, always vocal, always loud. Me and Fresh, we were talking to BDS, and we were saying, just Renchi, and what's the kind of mentality with that guy? And he said if BDS lose, oh, guys, it wasn't our day, it was bad luck. If BDS win, Renchi's, oh, it's good luck. It's great luck. That's Frenchie's mentality. It's all about luck, and I mean, to an extent, I agree with him. To win a championship, you need a bit of luck. You do, and anything you do, you need just a little bit of something magic. So I can't blame the guy.
You got to make a bit of your own luck as well.
It's all about luck for Renchi.
For Renchi in particular.
That's it.
Currently sitting 0-4 on the Fenrir. Bless him. See if he gets involved this time. A couple of shotguns being run here from BDS. We've got the Solace and the Echo shotgun.
Two of the more uncommon ones that we would see.
Yeah. But still with decent sidearms, so it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, Bearing's a great gun at the moment. SMG 11 obviously speaks for itself. Again, more value coming in. M80 in that Brava. Very strong, obviously in the meta with plenty of utility. You think about Fender being ran a lot as well, Ollie. It's great for picking them up. As has just been showcased.
As soon as they're down, he's grabbing him.
As we see. And can also be used to hack echo cams.
Yeah.
Which is something that BDS have to watch out for.
Yeah, BDS need to keep an eye on that utility. And it's shocking to see how much value the Brava drone is actually getting. Leaky Fact, hello! Well, you've given yourself away there. Iconic's picked himself at 1 for free. Gomez, he's still at it. You keep throwing him, I'll keep hacking him, bro.
It's his third Fenrir gadget that he's hacked. I suppose that means that there's no charge left for the Echo Cams, which isn't a bad thing if you're Bride now, but I think Gomez can still use these as just normal drones, get the information. Renshiro, he was stuck upstairs the last time they defended here. It didn't work out for him too well. Shaiko again in a similar position towards East, but he's going to try and use the information that Renshiro can supply. See if he can flank up East, but look at that position, look at that angle. Being held by Iconic! Shaiko doesn't care! He doesn't care that Iconic has such a good angle. He'll fry him anyway!
I was looking at that, I was thinking, lights out surely for Shaiko, but no. More than happy to take the challenge. Gomez still gets caught in a Ephemeral Gadget, by the way. Still gets caught in a Dread Mine. He tried his best.
So many of them.
But there are just too many for him to fight against here. We've got a pre-play C4 above Bride's head, but as we can see, there are no operators that hold a C4, so just a distraction for the time being. 35 seconds left. Diffuser is in the hands of Kino. Spoit maybe eyeing up a little bit of a drop here, although it's not really the one that wants to do it. Still got a bit of opportunity to open up some of this vert. We mentioned it a couple of times throughout the course of the round demo, but there's some yokai drones out here and they could come to blow, especially if the time starts to get short.
Well, we've got one that LMs is flicking through alongside the Valkyrie cameras. Kino will drop in, try and go for the defuse, but isn't sure about it at the moment. And M80, you're really struggling to find out the information of where these players are, but in comes the Echo drone, in comes the yokai. It will stun him once, in comes Shaiko for the freebie. Yes, a yellow ping. Shaiko, that's all she wrote. BDS, a simple collapse. Bride hid in a very safe position, only underneath the table. At no harm's way whatsoever, and Shaiko has to get in there to keep those kills trucking in.
Border is not a map that a plan goes down in the final couple of seconds. A plan goes down in the first 30 seconds to a minute, or it doesn't go down at all. You cannot give BDS that kind of space. Bride is one of the best in the world. He is fearless when it comes to that yokai drone. He knows the timing inside and out. He's got that internal clock on point.
He can count to 7.
Accurately. We can all count to 7, Demo. It's counted 7
It's counted 6.9.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you're at.
And balancing that with how long's left on the clock.
I mean, he plants it long enough, he should know. One thing I have to say about M80 compared to yesterday, so slow.
That round in particular was really slow.
I think a couple of rounds at times really went against them. You know, that's twice now, Ollie, in Border, where they've tried to attempt a really late plan and it just hasn't worked for them. M80 yesterday against NIP, they were in quick. Always dominant, always leading. But they're just off the mark. It doesn't feel as right as what it did yesterday. I feel as though M80 didn't even really go for anything flashy today.
No?
I've seen them, you know, yesterday they were attempting blitzes and osses and certain things like that. They went very tame. Very, very timid. BDS equally will go timid, but again, I think out of the two teams we've talked about, it would be M80 to go for the more exotic choices. BDS, they're all about the nades, only 6 of them coming in. We didn't see too much. Was there even a nade kill for M80 at all in there?
I don't think we saw a nade kill. I thought we saw Iconic play Iana one round from memory, but I don't recall seeing any significant nade play. Shaiko loves him. That's what the majority of his kills are made up by. You could genuinely attest a lot of Shaiko's kills to nades. I think a couple of days ago inside the competition alone, he had 19 nade kills.
Incredible. What a stat line. And I think he'll try and get some more, knowing him. BDS on Border, the way they like to operate is they will try and get EFAC into these slippery positions where he can just explode at a moment's notice and just open up these little pockets of space. BDS are a great team whenever EFAC gets into these positions. He will feed that information saying, guys, it's clear, I can get in here. And they will take that as quick as they can. It's one thing that I think they struggled with a lot during last stage was actually having control, but then not seizing it. That's one thing that they've improved on massively since we last seen them play competitively.
We're going to start to see these nades coming in from below. Fortunately for Spoit, he just gets himself out of the way for that first one, but shots are raining in. It's the game of catch that you play with your own teammate, essentially, as you throw the nades up and then have somebody upstairs as well on the balcony ready to put a couple of shots in, and Gomez is feeling that heat and pressure. He's going to be found out as down, potentially revived here though, but Spoit just thinks better of it for the time being. Another nade comes through. BDS looking for a twofer there.
It's just clinical BDS. They will push you and push you and push you. Eventually, you will fall. That's what it is. You are on a cliff, right? How long you stay on that cliff is how good BDS are that day. That's how this team operates. It's like 300 whenever they're pushing all the Persians off the cliff. That's what it's like.
Go for that reference. Kino, going to stabilize with some defender explosive this time. The attackers have got nades. He's got C4. Going to take out Alems. I think Alems has already used all of his util at this point. EFAC, he is going to try and start to make his way through now. Brede just navigating this rappel. Not all the time we see that armory wall get open.
No. Not a lot of times. Mostly teams have been just trying to operate in towards security and then in through Fountain because there's always going to be a rotation hole. This is what I mean with the pockets of space that BDS will try and achieve. EFAC will wriggle his way in to these positions. There is a yellow ping, so he didn't know he's there. Iconic will flood up in towards the metal staircase. And now he's in a hot bit of bother because he doesn't really know where to look. And Bride's actually got the plant down on the other end of the spectrum. They were so fixated, Ollie, on EFAC that they had no idea Bride was just planting for free.
Bride is able to get himself outside now. You can see his teammates rotating to try and assist. Kino, he's going to try and push himself up. Bride keeping a keen eye on that security. He's going to get pinched at the same time here and taken down. 3 kills. Leaky Fat, you've got to do something here. Kino, he's on the disable. You can't be finishing the kills off. Leaky Fat, there's no time. Where's the info?
Oh, EFAC caught in Narnia in no man's land. Too slow. I'm really surprised that Brady hasn't gone on the rappel outside. That's what you should do immediately as that gets planted.
I thought that's what he was going to do straight away.
Honestly, that's... Again, BDS, I thought it was great. Really smart the way they played that. EFAC distracting. Brady plants for free.
Where was Renshiro in this? Because I'm sure somebody was outside on them window.
Oh, we'll find them. We always do.
So Lems gets taken out by the C4.
Nice kill. Shaiko dead.
So that opens everything up for the plan.
Oh.
So Renshi's still alive.
Renshi was holding the other man inside of office. That's what that was. But yeah, just... They needed that one. Oh! Oh! He doesn't like that one!
It's not often we get to see anything on Shaiko's face other than just a very plain blank
Shaiko emotions! Oh, we... That's what we don't like. Guys, come on, my kill... I need the kills.
He's still at 9. A little bit of frustration there edging out on the side of BDS, and rightly so. That's a round, you look back at that and you go, we should be winning that every day of the week. With the position that we're in, there's no shot we lose it.
Well, let's see how they do on the next bomb side. It will be the ventilation room workshops. Boy, already takes a lot of damage. I think, is that from Shaiko? Yeah, it will be this battle of East. You know, Shaiko was playing in East, he was getting picked off by Spoit, and now equally it's going to be Spoit in East, and he maybe might get picked off by Shaiko.
Rocking the secondary hard breach gadget this time. Brede is going to open up that detention wall and then make that rotation around.
Yeah, he's never too far away from being able to open up a reinforced wall. That's one thing about him. But it's good to see when Abaki gets to stretch his legs a little bit. He'll be happy with that. Gets a nice gun. Playing the 5.56 can only be fun for a short while, I think.
A bit Stockholm syndrome on the old Fairlight. Shaiko's actually got himself into the top of East here, so
yeah.
Reasonable control established. Spoit, of course, playing on the 90, has the option for a couple of different rotations. Leaky Fac, this is what we talk about when we talk about space being generated, but he's burned off the map by Spoit. Goodness gracious, that was a swing and a half.
Spoit gave him a tattoo, it's a bullet hole. Straight through the noggin. Shaiko, he's now trying to grasp back and find a pick. Oh, shoots at the wrong moment. That does give his position away, but now they know exactly where that Fenrir is, and nade will come in. Gomez should die, and there we go. A good refrag. Again, that's where Shaiko, they're doing well today of just seizing that control of where it's left empty.
Lems is so close to grabbing these players. They drop back through the hatch, but Shaiko, he's still dishing out the damage. Another nade to cook and throw in here. It isn't going to do too much, but through the hatch, look at him
Any
go.
acers?
He isn't getting challenged at all. Somebody shut him down. All of a sudden, Kino versus the world. Shaiko. How does he keep getting away with this? The nade onto Gomez. The shot through into Armory. The shot through the floor, through the hatch. 4 kills, barely moved his feet.
He is truly one of the best has ever played this game. He really is.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
It's... I would love to see his consistency over the past 4 years. I think it's unrivaled. I don't think there's a player who's been as consistent as this guy. It's incredible. Because players have their bad splits. Players do, but this guy, words can't describe. They can't.
There we go. He's getting amped up now.
Stéphane Le Bleu.
He's starting to remember what it felt like last year to win it. All square. Tell you what, considering the desk has this down, and I think we both have this down as a map for M80, BDS putting up a really good fight here.
They are.
They're contested on both sides as well. They're contested on the defense. Look, now they're contested on the attack.
We can sit here and favor teams and maps and say this and say that.
What's it matter?
If there is one person who just has a pop-off game where every engagement he is going into and he wins that, you can do nothing. You can do nothing. If Shaiko drops 20 kills in this map, M80, I hope M80 don't get upset because they shouldn't be sitting there saying, oh, we could have done better. Honestly, you can't blame them. If one person is just untouchable, you can't do anything against him. I'm sorry, just give up. Just honestly hit was it F6, F5, whatever one it is. Just give up. Get the white flag out, surrender. Because he's unstoppable. He really is.
Round number 9. We're on the entry battle again. Spoit. Fairly quiet game so far, 6 and 7. He has been dueling on that entry.
There he is.
Shaiko again.
Nade kill.
Nade kill, tick, entry kill, tick. So consistent. Shaiko and nade kills has been, it's just been a pleasure to watch.
Look, again, we say this is supposed to be the best 5 grand finals of Gamer8. You may be thinking, oh, is this just the Shaiko show? It's not. That's coming, I mean, it could be the Shaiko show the way it's going, but again, this is a best of 5. We still have another mat after this, don't forget. But at the moment, BDS have just, they've taken control. The diffuser's going down. Ollie still half the round to play. Per day, another plant. I don't know how they're getting plants down on border so quick, but they are. Kino is asleep at the wheel. He has no idea how that has happened, how he's let that slip. There's a player right beside him. Shotgun comes in, will catch EFAC. And he tries to run away, and oh dear, now it's Brede in the 1 versus 3, and he gets taken out. What's happened there for BDS? A retake's happened.
It's all falling apart. Part of the problem with getting the plant down on border is you've got to be willing to hold it. That isn't an ideal plant location either. That isn't something that can easily be held from outside. M80 doing a good job in the clutch. They've been fantastic in those clutch moments. I think they thrive under that pressure of the countdown of the diffuser going off. BDS maybe just jumping the gun a little bit there. We're going to see a timeout come through.
There's option, boys.
Timeout for M80.
What is Boo Boo saying? What do we think it is, Ollie? God, you'd love a listening, wouldn't you? You'd love a listening.
I would love a listening, actually.
I think with that round, obviously they've won the round, but it's not how they wanted it to happen. I mean, that diffuse going down, there seems to be some serious communication issues for M80 for that to happen. Equally, I feel as though, you know, BDS haven't really coordinated that as well as what they should have either, but here we are.
Leaky Fight's been shot trying to get out of the window. Brede kind of in no man's land there at the bottom of East Stairs. I think Kino played it really well.
Yeah.
You called he was asleep at the wheel, and you know there was an element of that plan going down and it being a little bit of a surprise. Well, but it was waiting before reacting and having that moment to think and stabilize instead of just running headlong into the problem.
Because he was almost ready just to swing, and then he came back.
Yeah, he came back straight away. He just thought about it for a minute.
Restricted himself.
Yeah.
M80, whenever they defend that bomb site, they do not open up the rotation hold beside vending machine for the window.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, it's pros and cons for that. It's obviously it stops the attackers using that as a way themselves, but then it doesn't really give the defenders a good way to get back into it for the retake. So the whole idea of that is stop them planting. So the fact that they've let them plant, that's probably why Bodega's called the timeout there, is to try and sharpen them up a bit and get them focused, because for M80, you know, playing in a grand final, they don't come around all too often.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb. 5 seconds left before insertion.
It's kind of surprising to not see a timeout used on Oregon as well, now that we think about it.
Yeah, I wonder if BDS, will they get the timeout, you know, a chance to use it, because they're almost nearing the end as well of their half for the attacks. He goes 5-5. Do you call the timeout at 5-5?
I think that, honestly, I think that M80 timeout was a great timeout for both teams. I think it was a good time for M80 to take one. I think it's probably a good time for BDS to have a little bit of a chat as well, because it's been a little bit up and down. Renchi on the opener.
On the Spoit.
That wasn't on my bingo card.
Does that mean Renchi's a better player than Spoit?
That's not how this works, but we've been keeping track of Spoit versus Shaiko.
Well, that's not fair to Spoit, is it?
Renchi wasn't in that conversation, but he's joined in regardless.
I think Spoit versus Renchi would be a great comparison. I think,
said, you know
I think
what?
that's a better level for Spoit.
I want a piece of this action.
I think we're tracking Shaiko versus all 5 of M80 at the moment, only.
Well,
that's
almost.
That's where we're at, but EFAC again slipping on that note, seeing if he can get himself into position where he can just explode for his team. A couple of nades from below is, of course, on the menu. LMs hasn't had the greatest of maps, Ollie. 3 and 8 at the moment. You would expect a little bit more from him.
It's a Renchi round. Takes Kino down as well.
These come once in the blue moon, Ollie. You have to savor these.
He's had 2 kills from the ventilation, eventually shut down by Gomez.
The fact that Gomez has swung that as well, the cojones on that man.
He's had to do something to try and grab something back, though. Iconic. It's going to be inside a fountain. They have Diaz in the sights as well. BDS have really opened this up for themselves. Still a couple of C4s kicking around, though. This could be a good nade from below.
It's as sure as the sun rising.
It really is. Shaiko will get a nade kill on Iana. That is just a surety now, I'm convinced of it. We've seen it nearly every single round.
This is actually a pretty good rotation from Gomez. He knows he needs to try and get back into sight and try and double up with Iconic. You do not want to leave themselves in these engagements, and it's done really well even to get the kill back, but he should be going back to sight now, but no, instead decides to stay inside security. It is a risky one, considering that LMs is right beside him, and the health advantage is firmly in favor of the Sledge, and yeah, will eliminate Gomez now. Iconic has to clutch up. Hey, we've talked about Shaiko. 15 and 8. Iconic's 13 and 5, Ollie, and we've kind of missed out on him. This could be, I would say, the clutch of the tournament if he makes this happen.
Still a long way to go, and the Lion Scanner's going to make it any easier. He's able to land the first and actually drops off. He's going to play around this nade. He knows he's got the ability to deny this plant. He is, of course, playing on the Valkyrie. But plant on the concrete and things get a lot easier. Throws the C4 up, but Leaky Fact from the hatch.
Switches on there.
Beautiful play there from Leaky Fact. That could have quite easily gone wrong if that C4 is allowed to come through the floor and explode. Then all of a sudden, you're in a 1 versus 1 and it's anyone's game. You don't know what information Iconic has got at his fingertips. That being said, we're all square. 5 rounds apiece.
M80 have really relied on the Valkyrie and Border. That's where I think the Nuke is playing a big part that we haven't really mentioned. EFAC is just slipping in very easily, and considering that Spoit is getting taken out right from the get-go.
Window, by the way. The same window.
Spoit on Solus getting eliminated early is not doing any favors. Remember, Solus is a hard counter to the Nuke. Jesse brought up on the desk. Playing Spoit on Wamai on Oregon last map, he was getting picked off early as well, and then look at the nade kills that happened. Spoit should not be allowed to play with these very strong operators if he's just going to die immediately.
Well, Solus's value is later on into the round. You know, it's all throughout and during the round.
Well, I mean, considering the circumstance you're under, where EFAC is bringing that nuke, and he is usually by himself, you should be using that to find out, okay, where is he coming in from? Where is he entering the building? That's the main issue for M80. They can't check the EFAC at the moment on the nuke.
Leaky Fact decided this time he's going to have a go of his own onto that opening kill. I know that we've been joking about it.
He's just shot through the window and killed him.
But it's becoming more and more damning, this opening pick. BDS are all over it. They are on top of this opening engagement, and it's giving them such a good advantage here in these attacking rounds.
Yeah, losing the first pick I've mentioned before, it's massive on a map like Border. You can see the space that it's created. Almost, I think, whenever that first kill comes in, you have two options as defense. You either try and get the kill back, which Gomez has done, a great shot onto Shaiko, or you fall back, and then that frees up space, of course, for the attackers to take. So they will stand their ground. They have went for the more riskier play of the two. I wonder if we're going to see any jump outs, maybe from Spoit trying to use the scanner. Of course, you can see if someone is going to be on a camera droning, and you can abuse that, Ollie. We mentioned it before. It's certainly something that Solus is... It's known for doing it, but I think in competitive play, it's a little bit more risky, because typically you'll have at least 2 players together at once, isn't it? People like to double up, so jump outs don't happen, but on that occasion, it could happen for LMs.
Brede and LeakyFac both causing damage.
They're not even in the building, Ollie.
Oh, LeakyFac's over on ventilation.
3 players dead, and they're not even in the building.
We've got almost a square being set up here by BDS as they slowly but surely make this approach. We've got
Compass, north, east, south, and west.
Lems, he's threatening Armory. We've got Renshi threatening in onto break. LeakyFac's finally made his way through.
That's the way Border should be played.
We are going to see a little hop up here from Diaz. Maybe going to try and get himself back down. Spoit fully droned here and can do little but to take the drone before he gets knocked off. It's all about how much bottle has he got to stay here for as long as possible. He's able to make himself one before he does eventually fall back onto the site. Still looking at advantage BDS.
So this is a very crucial time for BDS because they have 2 options. They try and just open up the flooring, go for the kills, or they try and play it safe. Remember, if you have upstairs control, you can easily plant inside a ventilation. You can jump in through the window with the diffuser, and you can plant while your team holds you from outside main door, and 1 player also upstairs on the vertical angles. It's an impossible retake. You can't really do much against it as the defense. I would say if you're M80, you're probably looking for a retake up metal stairs because that's what you want to try and abuse. A lot of verticality is going to have to happen, but it looks as if they're going for the kills, Ollie. They're going to go for the kills. They drop into Workshop, and BDS, well, they break through. Now they're on top, Ollie. 6-5, match point.
A couple of great games of cat and mouse there. We had LeakyFac versus Spoit. Is it going to be the door? Is it going to be the hole in the soft? Then we've got Brede getting the plant down. Gets the call from his teammates. Hey, he's outside front door. All Brede's got to do, come off the plant momentarily and see to it that he wins the gunfight. BDS in prime position here to go 2-0 up inside of this best of 5, and that starts to look like a very dangerous advantage for a team like BDS.
Yeah, it is. BDS, they know what a best of 5 grand final's all about. They've won 1 before, Ollie, as we know. Well, they won 2, of course, last year as well, but obviously the major against a Brazilian side also.
This is an N80.
1 American. 1 of ours.
You should know they're an NA team. You shill on the desk for this team.
For M80?
Yeah.
Shill for a player. Not very close to me.
10 seconds left.
We've seen a thrilling Border so far. I wasn't expecting Border to be this close.
No, they shouldn't have been, but it's just... It's been one of those games, Ollie, where you just feel as though M80, it doesn't hit the same as what it was against NIP.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem as if it's them at their best. I don't think this is M8 at their best. It really isn't. That's kind of where we're at. Again, I think that opening pick stat line has to be talked about. M80 giving away kills for nothing. I mean, I would say BDS have also done that a few times, but...
BDS has been really good at picking the opening pick. Yeah, they've got a little bit of luck here and there, but they've been good in contesting that battle.
Renchi had a bit of luck, which is, he loves that. Loves the luck.
Renchi did fantastically.
It's incredible. And just
2 kills from the same window.
And again, for Renshiro, it's one of those where he plays, you know, I would say pretty boring Siege. He just sits and holds angles.
He doesn't have the most glamorous job.
And for M80 to give him kills like that, M8, you should know better. You should know better.
Yeah, he's not got the Shaiko or the LeakyFac job of going in and creating the space or being fed a lot of information. M80 have drawn for the pulse here to try and solve their problems. And this has been one of the slowest starts to a round that we've seen so far. It's just about the halfway point and we finally see a bit of an engagement, but still no opening pick.
Yeah, BDS are looking to gain early control inside of Workshop is where they already stationed themselves, also inside of Customs. Shaiko is below, he hears footsteps above, and no, it's not the reindeer on the roof, it's Spoit above you. He's looking to see if he can play big, and he hasn't had the greatest of games, only 7 and 10 for that young man, who we know has so much pressure on him, Ollie, to try and be this light for M80. It's the reason why they brought him in, to really improve their fragging capabilities. And if he's not doing that, then we have to have some question marks around him.
In fact, still just seeing if you can try and find anything. Bride going to kick things off with a kill over onto Gomez. That's going to really open up Vent and allow him to start moving through Workshop. Spoit's still going to be above. Shaiko still trying to play for these vertical angles. He knows that someone's there, and he's really just showcasing some of his patience here. We've got Leakyfac outside of the site window as well, and we're going to see a bit of a hop in. Actually, Alem's is going to get himself into security. Immediately taken down here. Spoit starts landing some shots. This is when M80 need him.
Yeah, but Diffuser right now is in the heart of the bomb site. Bride, he doesn't have it at the moment. He now picks it up, and there's Shaiko while we talk about Spoit, but we can never forget about Shaiko. M80 in the spin cycle. BDS, they will take the map away from M80. We pitched to M80. This would be their best chance to get into the series. But the French, they're rocking Ollie.
BDS really are firing on all cylinders here. Well, there's a big question mark over the map of border coming into this for that BDS side. We were wondering, do they have what it takes to take on M80, a team that are opportunistic? They have that flair, they have that passion, that ability to use the flashy operators and get those really nice pocket plays pulled out. And we didn't see any of that. Instead, what did we see? We saw BDS dominating the opening kill. We saw Shaiko playing with his food before he eats it. Everyone on BDS had a standout game.
Well, that's map number 2 done, but it's not over yet. One more map still remains potentially in this best of 5 final. We'll be back after the break.
We can change it all.
Open your eyes.
When you look into my eyes, tell me, what do you see?
Tonight, I'm gonna show you the wonders of them all.
Hey, I got nothing to lose. I got nothing to lose.
I need warriors.
So is this what you want in? You want a war? Show me what's up then. Now we ready to bust in. Take everything, leave them with nothing. Come on. When the moon rises, the flame is ignited. We're stronger together and weaker divided. So take my hand, follow my lead. Only one way to be living young, wild and free. Living young, wild and free. Yeah. Look into the stars. Look into
Border is the second map of this best of 5, and it's also the second one that BDS add on to their tally 2-0 in the lead, looking for that undefeated run. I'm Jeannie, your host, joined on the desk by Jesse and Fresh. We had a little bit of a swap of analysts. Welcome to the SCC post-match, because we're going to try and analyze exactly what went wrong for M80, because it started so good.
This is not a loss you want to have if you're M80 coming through. I mean, this is supposed to be their map pick. Border is supposed to be a map that BDS don't really love. And yet, I don't know. I thought they were playing better on that first half. You know, I really did like some of the ways that they were clearing that map. I thought the droning and intel was as good as it always is for M80. But then Shaiko started making some plays. They really had trouble pinning him down in particular when he was out there on the roam. And those last couple of rounds, you know, things just kind of got out of hand. The timing on that final round on Bathroom with the Yokai drone going for denial, a massive problem coming in from M80 was that clock towards the end. So it was a close first half, 3-3 splits the way it ended, and then M80 just couldn't hold it down towards the end of it.
Yeah, there was a couple of key differences for me. I think the attacks ultimately came down to from M80 was time. I think, you know, they're going to play this North American style, and it tends to be a little bit slower in terms of clearing the map, and it's more process-driven, even on Border, which is a very gun-heavy, you know, early entry engagement type of map. And like you say, losing one round to Yokai drone, losing another round to time where Shaiko managed to get a double kill, and it was BDS who clutched up the 1v1 with Iconic. And I think on a 7-5 loss, those are just the small differences. And I hate highlighting the NA teams with this kind of NA meta when they're being a bit slower, but then you look at how BDS attacked it, and it was much more kind of lurking, entry into the map, trying to take ground, trying to find these gunfights as fast as possible. The average round time was a lot quicker once BDS got onto the attack. And like I say, when it's a 7-5, it's just individual moments of brilliance just stopped M80.
Yeah, when we're looking at individual players as well that were bringing these moments over the last couple of series, when we're looking at BDS, Shaiko and Linkypack would always come to the table. When we're talking about M80, Spoit was always in that conversation. We're looking at how it's going through now for the side of BDS. It feels a little bit more like an equal footing.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, I think that Shaiko obviously had a fantastic map. You know, we just saw stats there, phenomenal so far today on Border. I think particularly on that defensive half, being able to cause so many problems, right? Just was a big thorn in the side of M80 that they couldn't seem to handle. When we swapped sides, I did think we saw a little bit more of the team coming in. Renshiro had a really big round on the Nomad. Big thing that BDS were able to do consistently was find those picks before they were even getting in the building.
Yeah.
You know, there was hyper aggression coming out from M80, and always it felt like it was being shut down by BDS. And again, here's Shaiko, a highlight reel from him on the defense. He was so good.
And I think this is, you know, one of the plays. This play here just encapsulates how good of an FPS player he is. Gets the first kill, immediately repositions for the second. That won them the round. And you're talking about a 7-5. One little play like that wins them the round, that would have been a 6-6. You know, one play and killing that BDS had on the Echo would have made it a 7-5 to M80. I don't think M80 were bad, but he is genuinely shooting probably the hardest we've seen since the Unspring Major, maybe a little bit before, maybe even Gamers8 last year. He's got so many kills in this game just from having the freedom to play and the pure FPS. And that's why I kind of, when I saw Border as a map pick, you know, when we go all the way back through to the map picks, I thought M80 should have gone for Chalet, but they went for Border. When you play on Border, yes, BDS don't like it, but what can players do on Border, even if the strategy isn't good? They can pop off, they can frag, they can have a lot of freedom to take gun skills. Who's the best FPS player in this game? Probably Shaiko.
Yeah, that was a discussion that we had on the desk as well earlier today, Jesse. The fact that BDS this time around, they don't look like the BDS that we saw in the EUL. They don't look like the BDS that didn't make it through the LCQ for the Copenhagen finals, for the Copenhagen Major. They look like the BDS from last year, from Gamers8 2022. So that is definitely a scary opponent to be going up against, and the fact that it's down to some individual moments of brilliance as well. M80, it's looking really difficult for them right now.
Certainly, and I think, you know, I said this a couple days ago, I forget which day, but Shaiko is the type of guy who he presents a problem that just doesn't have an answer, right? If there's a guy hitting shots like Shaiko does on the defense, if he's roaming on some sort of building, you know, you can have the best drones in the world. You can have Kino and Diaz having all the intel for you, and Spoit is an amazing entry, but even still, he finds a way to sneak away from you, finds a way to, in the late round, get into a spot that you just aren't expecting, and he's gonna hit the shot every single time, and it's so tough when he is having a Shaiko game to find an answer. And if you're M80, I don't know what you can do.
M80 set up like that play where he got both kills on the crossfire.
Yeah.
You set up a crossfire, so the absolute worst case scenario for you is if the player on the left dies, the player on the right gets the kill. What does Shaiko go? Kills player on the left, kills player on the right, wins the round. And that's just the force that you're up against sometimes when he's at the very top of his game.
Yeah, and it seems that this time around he is definitely at the top of his game, and he's been able to help the team through Oregon, through Border. And my biggest fear at the moment for M80 is the fact that we're going to be heading into Club. And if anything, yes, BDS banned it in one of the series, this tournament specifically, but still. Clubhouse, what did you say about BDS on Clubhouse, Fresh?
See, I've said this a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of going to retract on it, stood on this desk, is, especially if you'd have seen me in February, BDS on Clubhouse, I would have said they're the best Clubhouse team in the world by far.
Yes.
Now, they took a wobble at 6th Invitational when they played against W7M on Clubhouse and have been, I would say, mediocre at it since. So, historically, BDS are one of the best teams in the world on this map. The processes, they know the fundamentals of it inside out.
Yeah.
But updating to the current meta has been hard for them. I would still want to favour BDS on this map, but what I will say is they've played it recently. They played it up against Wild in the recent Tier 3 EU competitions in the qualifiers. They lost it. They played it up against M&M. They lost it. They don't have a recent good record on it, but historically they are one of the best teams in the world on this map.
But it does feel like the BDS that we're looking at right now was not the BDS that we were looking at during the times that during the tournaments that you're now mentioning.
Yeah, I mean, the Combine for me is such a question, right? Because this is that Tier 3 tournament, you know, you're always wondering to what extent are BDS putting in their full effort. They obviously got to save strats for this event, yada, yada, yada. That's going to be a talk. But they lost it twice. This is supposed to be the map that they're so good at.
That's their home ground territory.
Exactly, and they lost it to teams that they played in Gamers Without Borders that they were able to have successful series against, and they played this map plenty of times back then. So it's a real question mark. The fact that we haven't seen this map from BDS thus far through the tournament kind of clouds that even more. And if you're M80, that's a question that's lingering on your mind. You know, are we going into prime BDS on Clubhouse who have been working on it since the Combine and who, you know, didn't really care in those games and they're going to be a Tier 1 and unstoppable team on this map? Or are they shaky? Are those games that happen in the Combine that you've undoubtedly bought-reviewed, that you've watched over, a good representative of how this team currently is on this map? It's hard to answer that question.
Yeah, especially because we're looking at BDS, the fact that they've even banned it themselves. Were they expecting to get all the way into the finals? Was that a strategy that they were hiding? How much have they evolved? It then brings the question specifically for M80. What can M80 do going up against these question marks? Because let's be completely honest, Oregon was a little bit of a question mark as well, and we all know how that went. 7-2 if you forgot.
M80 have got one of the biggest challenges that has ever happened in Siege, which is now to reverse sweep a grand final. 0-2 down in a best of 5 to reverse sweep it.
Has it happened before?
We've only seen it happen, I think, 3 times, I want to say, in the history of Siege, maybe 4. This is going completely off memory. So it doesn't generally happen. And they're not on maps, I would say, that favor them at all. I was thinking if M80 had to get this done, they needed to be 2-0 up by this point. They're 0-2 down. So I think when you're in this position, and, you know, their coaching staff will be saying to them, you know, it is what it is. You can't change the past now. You've just got to control what you can control. And it does come down to the basics, which is one round at a time, one moment at a time for M80.
Yeah.
Just get out there, you're in the final, you know, it's all but lost now. So just play with that freedom and quality that we know you've got. Don't let it get into your heads, the kind of magnitude of the situation, and just see where it goes.
And I mean, I think for Clubhouse, you know, if we're keeping it one round at a time, one map at a time, it is a strong map coming in from M80. You know, they like this map too. We're hyping up BDS on it. There's a reason why they didn't want to ban it on the side of M80. You know, through 4 plays this season, their only loss was an 8-7 game against M&M back in Copenhagen. Otherwise, they've defeated Falcons, Dark Zero, and G2. Some good opponents in there for sure. Falcons played well this event. G2, of course, a monster team, especially back when they played each other previously at the Copenhagen Major. So, I mean, this is going to be a good battle between 2 teams comfortable on this map.
Yep.
But you can't get over the fact that it is the map for BDS.
It is the map for BDS indeed. They are feeling right at home. And that's also where it's going to be a bad day to be an NA analyst.
It's always a bad day.
You want to put in prediction though?
Do
you think we're going to go to the 4th map?
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to stand up here and say I believe that M80 can necessarily win the whole thing, but let's take it one step at a time. They can win this map, okay? It's a map they're comfortable on. They've got Bodega behind them, hyping them up. I fully believe they've got it in them.
All right, well, it's one round at a time for both of these teams. BDS, they want to secure and defend their title. M80 holding on for dear life to start their miracle run. The question is, who will be able to complete their mission? We're going to be heading over to Ian on the stage.
We like to call this little area in the crowd the World Champions Row. It's obviously excluding myself. How's it going? We're in the crowd here at the esports arena. Oh, you're looking at yourself on the camera. What do you think? You feeling it?
Sorry, I was looking a bit. I didn't like that angle, but yeah.
You look good. I've been down here with Doki. These guys have been watching. The entire G2 roster is here watching this grand final play out here, and we had a big conversation about what I'm wearing. You hear that boo just there? You got booed.
They'll pay for that.
Doki, do you think this is this going to end 3 maps on the bounce, BDS, or are you going to see M80 kick back and make this 2-1?
Oh, it's a 3-0. Shriko's on it. There's no coming back from Shriko being on it.
You think?
Oh, I know.
What is it they're doing so right? Obviously, their individual players phenomenal. It seems to me, I was speaking to Gemini earlier about like the communication levels across the board that seem really strong as well. Anything else that's standing out to you that's particularly clicking for this side?
They are droning Shriko very well, and he is killing them he's actually killing them even better than they're droning him.
That's what you're going for?
That's it. That's simply it.
I don't know if we can get Alamo on. Alamo, you're over here. Let's see if we can see. Yeah, we can see you. Come on. Give some M80 fans a little bit of hope and belief here that they can fight back.
For all the M80 fans, I'm actually hopeless.
Oh, no. This is cold over here. This is cold. All right, I'll tell you what. Hopefully Fancy has got some more positive M80 fans where he's at right now.
Thank you, Ian. That's exactly what I'm going to try to get from the fans. رجعنا لكم من جديد اعزائي المشاهدين مع الجمهور، جالسين نسولف معهم على وش اللي ممكن يصير في المباراه، لانه ما حد كان يتوقع انها بتخلص زي كذا 2-0 حتى الان لصالح BDS. M80 ما عندهم اي فرصه. ودنا نسولف مع رجال اليمين الحين. صالح يلا حيهم.
الله يحييك يا هلا والله.
اول شيء ودي اسالك اياه، هل احنا كنا متوقعين النتيجه بتكون كذا 2-0 لصالح BDS؟ اوكي هم ابطال الموسم اللي راح ولا قلنا شيء، لكن M80 الفريق اللي الكل يطلع انه يشوف اداؤه، وش ممكن يصير في المباراه هذه؟
شوف كانت شوي متوقعه من اول. M80 فريق ممتاز بس توهم فريق جديد على بعض وفريق شويه صغار، عكس BDS اللي لهم كم سنه الحين يلعبون سوا. معاهم شايكو هذا خيار كافي الحاله، ومع لاكي فاكر الركل الجديد حقهم اكيد تغيير يعتبر كبير لهم. فالنتيجه شويه كانت يعني واضحه من قبل، وممكن حتى من بدايه البطوله كانت بينهم وبين W7، بس اللي صار مع W7 انه خلاص واجهوا BDS، واجهوا شايكو.
يعني انت تشوف انه ما في اي فرصه لفريق M80 يسوون شيء؟ حط ببالك سبويت موجود، كيلو موجود، كل الفريق الروستر اللي قاعدين يقولون هم العهد الجديد حق الرينبو، معروف الشيء هذا في البرازيل، معروف في كل انحاء العالم، ما عندهم اي فرصه؟
شوف سبويت ممتاز
اكيد، سبويت
صغير، الفريق توه جديد، توه متشكل، ما عندهم الكيمستري والخبره حقت BDS لعبوا هنا قبل، يعرفون المكان هذا زين، فيمكن ما بس ما اشوف اكثر من كذا.
خلينا نشوف اذا فعلا هذا اللي بيصير اعزائي المشاهدين ولا لا، لكن يبدو لي ان الماب الثالث اللي احتمال يكون هو الماب الاخير راح يبدا الان في اللحظه هذه. هل فريق BDS يعيدون الكره ويكتبون التاريخ مره ثانيه كابطال الموسم الجيمرز، ولا M80 يكون عندهم قصه ثانيه؟ على طول مع المعلقين.
Thank you very much indeed to not only our decks this time, but both Ian and Fancy getting in and amongst it in that crowd. I tell you what, Demo, I love Gamers8. Sitting out there in the crowd, in that fantastic stage, getting to watch two of the best teams going at it. Although, now I don't understand the second part of that interview, but I understood quite well what Doki and Almar were talking about.
Yeah, because they've been on the receiving end of that.
They know exactly what this is like. And sometimes it's very difficult to put into words how well a team is playing when it is all focused on someone that's just having one of those days.
If people think that you can stop Shyko, if you think you can stop that, right, you've hit delusion. So that's the kind of stage that you're at. Obviously, I think Doki and Almai went through that stage of delusion before.
Yeah.
But now, you know, it's acceptance.
Yeah.
You have to accept that.
Well, they can sit back in the crowd and accept it quite easily.
You can
because
accept that
they're
Shyko's
already out.
untouchable.
Like, yeah.
You know, if you think you can stop that, just delusional, you know? That's the way it is.
Well, BDS are going to obviously keep on trying, and M80 on the flip side, they need to do anything they can to stop Shyko. Something that they have done here, Demo, and maybe a lot of people at home would have been wondering why hasn't this happened a little bit earlier. They're going to go for a direct target ban onto Shyko.
Yeah.
They're going to remove the Iana. Shyko only plays Iana. If Iana's open, Shyko will play them.
Doesn't matter, he plays for the gun. He has no med now.
Does matter a little bit.
Okay, you take away the nades, sure.
You take away the nades.
I get that.
Shyko and nades have been devastating, but granted, you do still get the air raids.
I'm really happy they went for the target ban.
Yeah.
I feel now for M80, after what's happened the first two maps, the strat book that you have, you throw it out the window.
Yeah.
Because now you're in a position where what do you have to lose? You go in and you just, look, guys, let's just play Siege. That should be the mentality. Let's go for the target ban. Let's just play. Just play the game. That's as easy as it is. It shouldn't be a case of everyone has to do this. Just honestly, let everyone do their own thing. Let people run around. Honestly, treat it like a ranked game. That's the stage I think you're at for M80 because you're out of options. You've seen the structure play style doesn't work. Trying to play fast, trying to play aggressive, get in the face of BDS. Didn't work in Border. Just play like it's ranked. Honestly.
Takes a bit of the pressure off as well when you go down that strategy and you say, yep, we're just going to play this like we play any best of one, and we're just going to treat each of these upcoming maps as a best of one.
Because that playstyle will be very random, and then all of a sudden that makes it more difficult for BDS to actually read into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm happy. I'm really happy they went for that, and I'm excited to see if they can get themselves back into this game. BDS, on the attacking first for Clubhouse. It will be that basement. Naturally, Ollie, this will take a while to get set up. So this is probably one of the bomb sites, Ollie, where we have the most downtime to really have a chat and talk about things, because there ain't really too much that happens until around the 30-second mark. You know, that basement bloodhouse that we always like to talk about.
There's quite a bit to talk about. We've got a mirror window being played here inside of blue. It's going to be facing into church, so obviously you don't want to lose that, because as soon as you lose blue, you have lost the entirety of church at that point.
The fully reinforced triple wall, which is something you don't see every day. Typically there would be a mirror window being sat on that doorway as well, watching into where LMs is at the moment, but with nobody there, it means he can sloop in.
Obviously setting up for some sort of impact trick as well. They do have a couple of C4s in pockets, and they may be looking for a little bit of lob over that triple wall, but Brede, he's going to be rocking the Habanas. That isn't really going to matter too much.
I'm curious to see how they deal with the clash, because that is an operator that has been chosen by Kino, and it's actually going to be really good for denying anyone dropping in towards Kitchen Hatch, because you get that instant information, and you can also slow them down. It's kind of, you're dropping into like a bog where you don't really have the movement. Combo that with the C4s like you mentioned. It could be a tasty combination.
Especially with how this clock is ticking down. Every second that gets swiped off it, that clash just increases in value. The removal of the Iana, of course, means that there's going to be 2 less nades run on the side of BDS.
It's a kitchen plant.
It's going to be down to Renshi to see if he can make use of that nade onto the clash. Gomez, he's going to kick things up for the kill there over onto Leaky Fack. You see a Dokubi call coming through and a drop that's immediately dealt with there. As Gomez picks himself up too, Shaiko drops into the lap of the blue player. Spoit in position to finish him off. Renshi, he's got great vision, can find a down and a confirm over onto Diaz, but not a lot else you can do, especially with a clash in tow. M80 going to be kicking off Clubhouse here in a much better fashion. Renshi just really tries to save that KD, scurries around that kitchen floor. Always going to be difficult to deal with that clash in that circumstance when you haven't got the nades, when you haven't got anything that can directly work with that, and when you don't get the opening pick. Leaky Fact falling first makes the clash even more valuable.
I wonder when BDS discovered that there was a clash.
I think they discovered that late.
If I see the clash, I'm thinking, okay, church is the way. That's what you should be going for. That triple wall didn't get opened. Habana had, I think, 10 pellets left. They could have easily have went down towards bottom main, opened up some angles. They didn't choose to do that, which was pretty surprising. Was it the case of the mirror window on blue looking into church scared them off? But even then, it shouldn't. You know, you can just nade it out. You can play somebody on blue hatch. Shaiko, as we know, is a demon whenever it comes to playing in towards blue. But maybe with him not having Iana, that will cause issues. This is with the target ban. You don't have the nades, you don't have that freedom of Shaiko being able to clear a position and then swinging the other.
It's where we reopened the conversation from last map when we were saying, oh, you know, Shaiko, best player in the world, best player to touch the game. But when he's that limited in his operator selection, and he's the best in the world when he's playing Iana, but when you put him on Nomad, he's still got the gun, but he's not got the utility. That's when you start to, you know, bring into question. Now he's forced over onto the Ash, still not able to bring the nades. He could bring nades, you know, he could be playing a Nook in this instance. But there's no nades in the lineup.
We've got a Kali. And this is a bit of a sleeper pick that BDS have really favored. If you think about Kali, the actual utility that she brings with the lances is actually incredible. It can destroy probably about half of it off gadgets. If you actually think about it, bandits, kites, mute charges, shields, can't see, you know, the list goes on with how much stuff she can actually destroy. But you also have to remember, against quite an aggressive side of M80 is a bit of value there with Solus, maybe looking for an impact, and out they go. But the actual playstyle of M80, where they can be very aggressive, very in your face, Kali has an insta-down weapon. So if you swing into a Kali and that shot hits you, you're dead. You don't get a chance for a jiggle peek.
Puts pressure on Renchi to hit shots. You can see Spoit, he's lining up outside. He's got Iconic down inside of Bunker, trying to give him a little bit of information there. He's able to put a couple of shots in over onto Leaky Fag, but nothing more than that. Shaiko, he's going to hop himself straight into sight. It eliminates the player on Garage Rafters, and Kino playing at the top of the stairs. The kills are starting to fly. Bride, he's got the diffuser. He could quite easily look for a plant now under the cover of Shaiko. Shaiko can continue to try and hold this. Lems from below removes yet another problem, and it's all down to Diaz. We talk about opportunity spotting, Demo.
That's it.
That was some hella opportunity spotting from BDS.
Yeah, players off-site, it's going to mean that BDS can just move in, get that diffuser down, and BDS, a very clear-cut round from them. They seize the opportunity, they see the space. Telling you, they understand the game so well, Ollie. They really do. Being able just to see, oh, hey, let's just take this. And the thing is as well, if they see maybe, okay, there's one guy here, they'll just trade the kills back. Yeah. They don't care, because they know as long as that diffuser gets planted, they're always going to be in an advantage. That's all it is. They know, okay, sure, there's one guy Garage. Let's just flood him. Yeah. Let's just go for it.
It really was a case of the path of least resistance there for BDS, just hopping straight in. Yeah, you've got a Garage player. Yeah, you've got a player at the top catch, but as long as you can split those two apart.
As long as you get to the top of the hill, it's an easy way down.
Coast down.
That's it.
Whack it in neutral and just let the
need to get up at first,
momentum take over.
Short way up and a long way down.
Over to Jim we go. M80 not looking for a repeat of the site, but they are going to be repeating something from the first round, which worked quite well for them.
Yeah, the Clash, but of course, I mentioned before Kali and how good she is. Kali counters Clash.
Great counter as well.
Telling you, it's if you gave Kali any other gun that wasn't the sniper because it fires one bullet a minute, she would be honestly the best attacker, just with everything she gets. She really would be. It's just the gun that lets her down, that's the issue.
Again, it puts the pressure onto Renchi to hone in onto that Clash.
He is one with the Clash. He can sense the Clash. That's why the Kali's here. As you can hear, said Kali pump it in.
You can hear
3 bullets.
Big sniper rounds just getting fired in.
What's he actually shooting at? I'm guessing he just made like a row of head holes across the top rafters, I'm guessing. Or maybe not. What's he actually shot at? Was he?
Oh, there we go.
Oh, that's it.
Clearing the way for Leaky Fag.
We knew he shot something, and I mean, if we missed Kali shots, I'd be surprised.
BDS have got a lot of map that they can take free here. Bride, he isn't wasting any time moving through, along with Shaiko. They're going to look to try and get this cash wall open into construction.
With this lineup from M80 only, they don't really need to play aggressive. They're, you know, it's much more of an anchor-orientated setup. You've got the Clash, obviously. You've got the mirror windows. You've got the Wamai to hunker down those windows a lot more. Ooh, a little too far there, Ollie. Would have been a good pick as well on Renchi.
Yeah. Diaz is going to send his C4 flying as well, so no more C4s, just Shaiko. He's going to take a quick opportunity to peek through construction.
No mirror window on the construction wall.
Surprised, because we see the mirror onto bathroom, but
Renchi,
look at him go. We talk about the power of this Clash.
Just sits and holds an angle. That suits him well.
Dishes out tons of damage. And of course, with the Clash, you're leaving the other two really in an effective 2 versus 4 here. Kino's going to move up to try and do something about it, but he immediately gets taken down by Shaiko. We will down Renshiro in the process. Iconic, he's going to be left with a challenge here into construction. He knows exactly where Shaiko is. The alibi sells him there. But Bride, you can start to get this plant down as all of these distractions are going forward. Finishes Shaiko off, gives the rest of the information. Renchi, he's taken Spoit down. Iconic, got a long old way to go, my friend. The diffuser's planted inside a gym. He's going to do his best, but Bride's best is better.
It is indeed. Just BDS using the Cali, being able to clear away a lot of the utility. Clash was never an issue for them. Lack of mirror window in construction is really surprising. I think that's probably the big blunder for me from M80 is you need to...
Yeah, where was that other mirror window place?
I'm assuming they put the other one inside of the walk-in closet, looking into bedroom.
Looking into bedroom.
That's what I assume.
We might get to
they
see
went
it here
for.
in the replays. Might get a glimpse.
Yeah, I think that would be the only other place it is.
Yeah, it is. You can see it there.
Yeah, so I mean, just Renchi on the Cali can just hold the angle. That's where he's comfortable on. And BDS again, just sensing the opportunity. A lot of players from M80 off-site. They can just walk in, prioritize the plant. And I think Jack kind of toyed on the desk saying that this is historically brilliant map for BDS, but it hasn't been as of late. BDS just weren't a good team as of late.
Yeah.
This is BDS at their best, and BDS at their best meaning their Clubhouse is at their best.
We already saw their Oregon. BDS and Oregon. BDS and Clubhouse. Not too dissimilar a map. We put them into the same category.
European maps at the end of the day, Ollie. Oregon and Clubhouse, we know that.
Same category. The basement. This is where M80 have seen success so far. It's the only side that they've done well in. The only side that they've been able to come away with a win. It was quite a confused push, I think, from BDS. Kitchen hatch got opened. We did see dirt get opened, but Shaco's drop into blue was a bit lackluster. We saw a couple of players dropping through that blue hatch as well. Shaco this time maneuvered himself onto some new pastures. He's going to be rocking the nades. I think he needs the nades to take blue. I'll be honest with you.
It is, yeah.
You need the nades to take blue because blue is so important here, and that's Shaco's only job.
And also, you look at the mirror window that's placed in blue, looking in towards Church. Yeah. You need to clear that also. They've brought in an Ossa into the fray of things. Whenever I think of Ossa shields, I think place them at the bottom of main stairs, and then have that coverage. I would like to see them open up triple wall, which is an area that they didn't really want to achieve anything with. They actually wanted to leave it hard, so then they could rotate through Armory and try and get into the back of Armory, because the walls were open up because they had the buck last time. So they will be changing things up ever so slightly. A bit of damage goes down Gomez. Ollie, there's the nades that we were asking for, and yeah, it's so vital for trying to drop in towards Generator, because it's a massive 50-50. It's either the guy's going to swing left or he's going to swing right.
Well, look at all the angles there. You've got the guy on AKs, you've got the guy on mannequins, and you've got the guy inside a Generator. It's a nightmare to try and drop into that and pick the right gunfight to take, and if two people are holding you, that's it, it's over. It's all about patience playing inside of blue. You've got to pick your right time to strike, and it usually revolves a lot around what the rest of the team is doing at that time. Like you say, if we do get to a situation where we're seeing those Ossa shields placed at the bottom of those main stairs, then we can start to think about, right, when is the commotion enough that blue is now viable?
I think they're actually going to use Ossa to drop. Remember, it acts like a riot shield. Essentially, it is bulletproof as you hold that, and then he sets it up. There ain't too much denial, and they're in a good position, really. It's just a clash. There's a C4 being wasted. Prede, all he has to do is get the shield down, but it is being stunned out by the clash, Ollie, and he's being impacted as well, but it has been placed. All he needs to do is get the diffuser down.
Leaky Fight's done a real big job here to try and hold that cross. Eventually, the shield will go down, and Brede is going to attempt this plant. Lems, he shuts down 2, make it 3, as we finally see Long be challenged there, but it's not enough. Renchi from the hatch. What a play from BDS. They had a response for everything.
Best attack of the day so far. 100% best attack. I love that adaptation. Knowing they have the clash, they bring in the Cali, which Renchi just loves now. He loves the Cali. That's not going to be a problem. You've brought the nades for Shaiko to pester the guys inside of blue so they don't have the same presence. And then you can safely drop that hatch with the Ossa shield. Really smartly played. Love it from BDS. M80 are going to use their timeout, Ollie.
That adaptation there from BDS is second to none. For that to be the response, after round 1, we see they didn't really have too much going on inside of this round. They didn't really have very many ideas. It was a kitchen hatch drop, which never really works on its own. To then seeing it come up again in round number 4, and it's that clean. Squeaky from BDS. You can see that they're pleased with that one.
You can feel the emotions.
You can feel it.
Them.
I'm getting goosebumps.
M80, the face is not really. There's not a lot about them.
Yeah.
BDS. I mean, seeing if Renchi's in a good mood, I'm feeling good.
If Renchi's lucky.
So much luck today. To be fair, there's a fair number of Cali shots hitting players. You know, that's the feel-good factor whenever...
Reggie's 6-0 playing Cali.
Yep. Take
what
notes.
Did he play? He played Sledge the first round, and then he's been on Cali ever since, and he's 6-0.
They've seen M80 choose the Clash, and he just said, oh, so you've chosen death.
Yep. We'll see if he 6 picks off it now that there isn't a clash being brought here. It's not a bad thing to bring still.
I'll be honest.
He's gonna get some nades.
Because nobody plays Cali. I think he's the best Cali in the world, just from default. You know?
To be fair, where's Fresh's bingo card for this event? Has Cali been played yet?
Did he make one?
Has Cali been played yet? Is
Did he
this the
even
first
make one?
Cali we're seeing? Certainly not the first time we're seeing this site. This is a repeat of round number 2. Now, Shaiko, I don't think he's going to have the same fortune. If he's allowed to hop into the window again, there's a big old problem there. Not expecting it to come as easily as it did previously, although Alems isn't wasting any time trying to make up a bit of ground.
Look at the pace. Look at the pace from BDS. They're straight in. They know what they're after. EFAC, we've seen this so many times. He loves a lurk. He really does. And he is a big centerpiece for that BDS lineup. He will find those pockets of space. And he almost, I feel for EFAC, he drags players away and then it allows players like Shaiko and Renshi then just to use their angles, and as people are rotating away and being dragged out of position, they just get freebies. That's the way it works for EFAC. He drags the defenders. Need to get the Kive Claw off though, Ollie. That's always a tricky one. No Thatcher being brought by BDS.
Cali would have been nice for that.
Cali would have been nice, that's true, but as long as they can get an Ash below, get an Aid below, obviously IQ is here calling out the information. It's just a matter of time for BDS. It should be basic. Shaiko has used both of his breaching charges, Ollie.
This is one of the things that BDS are good at as well, is they are really good at that information gathering stage.
Oh dear, this is poor.
I'm not sure if Renshi can get it from that angle. I think it's on the opposite side.
What did Shaiko use his breaching charges for? Because he could go below, open up, and then just shoot it off. And he missed the nade.
Oh dear,
oh dear. This is a troll.
If this isn't in a position where IQ can actually shoot it through the wall, then that's a big, big old problem.
It's in the...
it's in the bookcase.
Yeah, it's in the computer shelf. Oh dear, BDS, they're not even going to open up the breach, Ollie. They're going to completely sack this off. That's very poor from them, and M80, honestly, just off the base of BDS's and their sheer incompetence, they should win this outright.
Really should. Leaky Fact going to be at the top of main stairs, looking to push into bedroom. He's going to be head-to-head with Spoit if he does so. Go for a quick drone to gather that last bit of info, but he's really working out there as a Lone Ranger. Not going to have any ability to be refragged if he loses that gunfight. Spoit knows that. Leaky Fact takes a good portion of damage there. Iconic picks up his second. Leaky Fact will find one, but Spoit immediately there for the trade. Finally, BDS have managed to get that breach off, but they're greeted with a bulletproof and a guy playing behind the rack. Quick swing from Kino and one from Gomez. BDS, for all that we praise you on your ability to deal with utility, that looked pretty shoddy.
What a kerfuffle. Downstairs. That's all it... I've heard that joke a few times. How many BDS players does it take to get rid of a Kive Claw?
Is that a joke you hear quite often?
We need more. We need more BDS players, it seems to be. But yeah, BDS just losing the round down to not being able to remove a simple piece of utility. It is poor to see. And M80. Again, we mentioned luck a lot, Ollie. Luck fancies M80 there in that round. Iconic picks up a good double kill that round also, using the Kine. Yeah, I mean M80 didn't really have to move, Ollie. It didn't feel as though they were pressured even once.
That's how it wants to feel on a CCTV hold. You want to give the opposing team a hard time getting that breach open. You want to contest that garage. It shouldn't be things that are given easily. That's how we expect Clubhouse to go in some instances for the defenders. You expect them to come away with, you know, a good portion of these defender rounds. You expect them to set up really intricate mini games for attackers to deal with. BDS, they've got to come up with another ingenious solution for attacking downstairs now. We aren't going to see the clash this time from M80.
Maestro comes into the fray of things. Is this one of the first Maestro we've seen this competition? It's certainly an operator that we don't see all too often.
Not as much as we used to.
Not as much as we used to. I just think very slow. Yep. Alda's obviously been hit with a few changes here and there, and I don't know, it's just a bit of a tricky one, isn't it, to really get good value out of the cameras, especially with, as soon as bulletproofs were introduced, it's been a sad old affair for Maestro.
On the flip side, we've got a Lens bringing the Capita out.
I wonder if that's going to be used to try and help them with blue more, because that's where they've struggled. We haven't seen actually a clean blue execute.
Shaco's died dropping blue both times.
From BDS, so certainly getting the Capitao bolts in would go a long way to assist him. You can see they will burn through said Wham Eyes, and there's 4 of them all. He stacked up onto the hatch. And LMs, I think maybe he's going to try and be the blue player. Of course, it would make a lot of sense and send Shaco elsewhere. It's good pickup using the Thatcher here, Ollie. We've seen them struggle with the Guide Glow the last round, so they're leaving nothing to chance. Oh, Gomez tries to get a cheap shot there onto EFAC as he tries to open up that wall, but he will go for the Guide trick onto the Selmas. I wonder if it caught that. I think it did, because he's still on that window, but he actually gets downed in the process and taken out. EFAC will find Gomez. There's the nade as well, Ollie. It's all coming up for BDS.
Much better from BDS. Not sure if Shaco knows that he's downed in there. Diaz will get picked up quite quickly. We are going to see a smoke and potentially
the smoke and Selma. Brilliant.
Shaco can now start to move on through. He's got a little bit of assistance here as well, faced with the bulletproof shield, but Bride is going to win his one over onto Iconic. The fire is going to stop anybody from transitioning for the time being. Still with that deployable shield. Shaco knows he's behind it, and he's going to miss a second time. Church will now fall, and it all lands onto Kino. BDS devastating in the push.
I love that little pocket play there, using the smoke to cover off the mirror window and then applying the Ace charge onto it. It's always a great way to see execute. It means that you just don't know where the Selma is. Actually had to use an impact ollie to get rid of it, but then it was too little too late. Everything was spent. 4-2 half for BDS.
It's the second time we've seen that site as well from BDS. Well, third time technically,
third time,
but the second time that they've won it with a different strategy. You know, they went for the cheesy Ossa pick last time. This time, a lot more straightforward. Capitao, block the lines of sight.
No need to go for that swing.
Great vert kill there from Leaky Fact to kick things off, and Shaco finally gets a little bit of success down in blue as well. It took a lot of his team and a lot of his team's utility to get it done, but that just goes to show how important that area of this site is.
Yeah, BDS looking strong. M80, they need to have a very important second half because they are playing to keep themselves alive. 3 rounds, BDS. That's it. That's all you need to go back-to-back at Gamers8. No one, Ollie, fun fact, no one has ever been back-to-back champions of this competition. They could break history here. They could. We've waited a long time for a back-to-back champion.
Well, I was looking into this earlier, and I was looking at just back-to-back teams in Siege
Only been done twice.
that have won back-to-back majors, for example. Because
Only
obviously a
been
major
done
is always
twice.
in a different
Yeah.
place. Not something that gets done very often.
2 times. Actually, 3 times. We had the old Continuum roster, Year 1, Season 3, and then also 6 Invitational. Then we had, of course, the run of Penta / G2. They done it twice, obviously 2 Pro League finals, and then obviously went in that incredible run in 2018. And then finally, Team Empire, back in 2019, they done a Pro League final and a Rally Major back-to-back.
Hasn't happened for a long time. There's a lot of talk of dynasties being sort of dead inside of Siege, and you're always going to get a new winner every single competition. BDS are looking to break that somewhat. It wouldn't be back-to-back events, of course, but it would certainly be back-to-back individual Gamers8 events, which in itself is very impressive. Still, a couple of rounds away from that, though. They need 3 here on their defenses, but they've set the stall. 4 to attack. That's fantastic.
M80 are going to be under pressure. He will be attacking into the basement, of course. Tricky old bomb site to get a good grasp off. And they're going to go for a top-down sweep ball like BDS. They never really had to deal with any roamers. I think M80 were very tame in how they wanted to defend. It was very anchor-orientated. BDS, as we see, not really shying away from setting up shop and then dropping off early. As all of them are now in sight, tucked away, but minute 10 to go, still plenty of time in terms of Clubhouse and basement attacks that we see. As long as you have just a couple of seconds to drop the hatches and get the kills, that's all you need. You see BDS, especially Brede, fishing for a C4 ollie that would help them out. Shaiko, he is the mastermind of Blue. He will claim his first kill, takes down Diaz.
He knows how difficult to attack it is, and he knows how good it can be to defend.
Great cam.
Plenty of C4s available as well. A couple have already been sent. Alems clutching onto his for the time being, but a lot of information. Obviously, Valkyrie making her way through the bands as well. Spoit will send the nade out from behind that mirror window, but is it going to have the desired effect? Gomez will block the glass for the time being. We can hear Dokkaebi call coming through. Shaiko picks his second up as Leakyfax next to fall, but Renshi is going to be there with the trade. Blind peaks. Renshi, what are you doing? Leaves it all up to Shaiko.
Old Renshi got ahead of himself there, didn't he? He just ran at him. Doesn't matter though, BDS clean it up. Shaiko and Blue, Ollie, he's as good on the attack as he is in the defense in Blue. Just that's his area. Why has that not been changed to Shaiko yet?
We can't call everywhere Shaiko. That's the problem. He can't have a spot on every map, or can he?
Honestly, he's good enough.
2 rounds away from lifting that Gamers8 trophy. BDS. It's time to finish what you started. M80 on the flip side.
It is.
Has recovered the bomb diffuser.
How's that being allowed then?
He walked past a drone as well.
Shaiko just doesn't move his feet. Renshi, of course, we've seen there prior to that, just runs into him.
Renshi was just barrel stuffing. Like, I don't really know what Renshi was up to there, to be honest with you.
So we've got a soft spot for Renshi, don't we?
We do.
We love him.
Could start to see the frustrations coming out on the side of M80. We can start to see the...
They need to keep the heads up. They're a young team. They're a young team. They need to keep the mental in check. That's the tough thing. That's what Bodega is going to have to try and get across, and that's what they should have been about. Keep the mental up. They need to try and keep the energy as best as they can, because they're still in it. It's not over till it's over. Still potential for M80, but BDS, Ollie, so good the first map, so good the second map, and you know, M80 look drained of energy going into this map.
Nobody on the side of M80 currently positive. We've got Gomez at 5 and 5. That's the closest that we will get. Shaiko, double positive, 8 and 4. Renshi, 9 and 3. Went on an incredible streak on the attack. He was 6 kills, 0 deaths earlier on in this very map. Full team performance. You know, we joke around about Shaiko getting a lot of kills over on Border and on Oregon, but the team's pulling. Everyone's contributing this game.
M80 maybe looking to see if they can abuse the nuke as well as what EFAC were doing. He's looking to creep up through Kitchen up to the main stairs. Is there anyone in position to try and stop that? Shaiko will be eliminated by Diaz. The Thermite gets the opening pick, and here comes Gomez. I love to see it. This is what we need to see more from M80 as opportunity spotting. Eliminates the Frosted Drop, also comes in towards Logistics. EFAC eliminates Shaiko. Out comes the Deagle from Gomez. He will spray a lot of bullets towards that opening of Logistics, but no! EFAC, a TK on the Brede!
Kino's going to start to try and get that plant down. Does come off it for a brief moment. We do have a Lems below, but he hasn't got any direct denial. Leakyfac's going to try and win this engagement, but Gomez is better. Fantastic push from Gomez there. Charging his way up those main stairs and really opening up the site. He's going to grab the final kill as well. Where has that M80 been, Demo?
Yeah.
That is the M80 we expected to see. A crouch walk up main stairs, seeing a gap, filling it, hatch drop from Logistics at the same time, really converging on that power position that BDS has established inside of Logistics, getting the breach open. Do it again.
That's
and
it.
again and again and again, because you're going to have to now with the position you found yourself in.
Yeah, I was very impressed with M80, Gomez especially. You could see what he was going for a mile off, albeit, you know, you knew exactly what it was going to be, but it's what they needed. It was something simple, but it gets them around. BDS having nothing to really stop anyone from going for that crouch walk. No barbed wire, no Fenrir, no Melusi, no Legion. None of those operators being chosen in their lineup, and they've paid for it. So again, opportunity spotting from M80 was done extremely well. But there's a but. There always is. We need more, because they're still losing.
One of the biggest problems that M80 are going to face here is that they need to do that again on a different site. potentially here inside of CCTV or downstairs inside of Church and Arsenal, because that downstairs site is going to be available after this round. And that, if BDS is successful there, which we're expecting them to be, will put them on match and series point. So it puts even more importance now on round number 9.
This is a big round.
Huge.
Big round, because like you mentioned, you would favor BDS. You'd fancy them to have another go at the base, you know, hold it as well as what they did. And that could be the decider of you know, the series. So this is a big one. M80 need to get themselves in the game. They've brought in the Monty, which is a brilliant operator choice. If we look towards that garage side, there's nobody better than clearing rafters than this operator. You can walk up and just feed the information, scare away the defenders, and unless there's a smoke, you don't really have to worry about anything. And as we can see, there ain't no smoke.
Spoit going to get chunked down by half there as we see the opening kill come in his favor. Quick engagement with Alem.
That's garage clear.
Him off, and Renchi's still hanging around in the bottom of garage. But likelihood now is that Kino is going to be allowed to just walk his way up those stairs. A horrible angle for Shaiko to try and challenge onto. Will save his deployable shield. Very important at this point when you're looking at trying to challenge onto anyone on that breach. Renchi doing his best to harass Kino as he tries to enter into that garage.
Is anyone going to go with him? I mean, somebody should be with Kino. They know Rafters is clear. They need to make sure Alems doesn't get into Rafters, because that will cause them a heck of a lot of issues. It looks as though there will be a rotation coming in. It seems to be Thatcher will join the Monty, so Gomez has to step up to the plate. See, Kino now starts to move his way in, knowing that he does now have a player, and the information will be fed. Gomez almost catches Renshiro. Oh, almost walked into the Frost Mahal, so Kino has to be careful of that on shields, takes it out, and continues his journey up the rafters.
Look at the information available here for BDS, though. Bride got a great yokai drone there, tucked into the rafters. He knows exactly where Kino is on the Monty. Shaiko going to go for a repeat. It's a horrible angle to challenge, even for somebody as good as him. Renchi now going to make that full rotation up those main stairs, but Leaky Fact is going to be below. And what's he got in his pocket, Demo? He's got the C4. Great shots there being put in at long range. 50 seconds on the clock. Shaiko's got to try and hold on here for as long as possible.
Long angle being held by M80. But look at the Monty Ollie. Look how Dominic can block the doorway now. That's an issue. BDS are going to be struggling to stop them getting into the site. Iconic picks up the C4 below. A great round from M80. I love to see the Monty rotate into that position. It just forces everyone back from BDS, and M80 just sweep in, get the kills, using the info. That is a common textbook round that you expect to see at this standard of Siege.
3 kills for Spoit in that round, really starting to come alive here on the attack. Great use of the Monty to bully the garage player. BDS, they're searching for rounds here, Demo. They've got to do more than just find rounds downstairs. They need to be successful in one of these off-choice sites. Otherwise, we'll be going to a 4th map. What an opener there. Straight through the soft.
They had everything checked. Everything was ready for them. Even Kino gets into the action with the Monty. So M80, bit of belief about you? Bit of fighting spirit still left?
It's certainly going to feel good, isn't it? You know, you finally started to get involved and into the series. Leaky Fact, passionately talking about something.
Some strong words.
He's a very vocal player.
He was a massive, massive move from BDS. I think can go down as probably one, you know, up there with one of the best roster moves that we've seen a team make. You know, look at the run they went on. It finally got BDS that trophy, that major trophy that they were after for so long. And EFAC, whenever he joined that roster, obviously we knew him inside of the Tier 3 community, coming in from the French scene, and he filled so many roles. He can be an aggressive player, he can be a very supportive player, can play a lot of different operators, but his ability to shot call in mid-round opportunities was second to none for that side, something that team was severely lacking. And look at the you know, the power that it's gave them.
He's the space finder as well. You look at him, he's always offside, he's always up to no good, he's always trying to just find that little edge.
He's the cheat code for BDS. BDS were already good before they had him, and then just look what happened.
I can't pick him up too much though, because he is out on the roam here, looking quite vulnerable. He's going to make his way back down to site, takes a couple of drones with him. Just spent a minute. Can now get himself back and ready for his primary purpose as the Warden, which is going to be Goggle Boy, as we like to call him, Goggle Man.
There's 2 Goggle Boys. Jackal as well.
Yeah, we got Jackal.
Or is he Feet Boy?
3 C4s. We haven't really seen too much explosive kill here on Clubhouse so far. The C4s haven't really landed too much. We've definitely not seen as many nade kills as we have on previous maps.
No, because you don't really have the vertical takes.
There's not always that potential for it. I suppose on CCTV there's a bit of potential for it, but...
Yeah, but trying to get downstairs, it's not easy. It's not easy indeed. So BDS, obviously, we expect to see the basement come in from them. This was always going to happen. M80, they've got the Monty once again from Kino. Kino not having the greatest of, I would say, series from him. It's been a struggle. He's really struggled to get any kills, so I suppose if he's not getting the kills, he may as well try and feed the information for everyone else. And likewise to what we highlighted from BDS, using the Ossa to drop in safely down Kitchen Hatch, you can equally do that with Monty.
Yep.
However, I think that Monty's a lot better suited maybe for the dirt push, because he's good at just, it's a one-way tunnel. That's where Monty excels.
You know that Brede is going to be playing there inside of that tunnel as well, more than likely. Close range with the shotgun, so if you can get into a position where you can just start to bully that player, then all the better. M80, they're taking their time here to make sure that they've got their I's dotted and their T's crossed, removing those dread mines from inside of the site. Sending out a little bit of utility now as a nade does come into blue. It will land a little bit short. Kino, he has been able to hit the drop though. BDS are aware of this, and it's surely only a matter of time until we see C4s flying in. One's going to land right at his feet. There's a good portion of damage, but look at this for a collapse. Iconic picks himself up too, but quickly is left in the clutches. 3 versus 1 here. Diffuser cold. Might be opening the wall, but it's just a little bit too late. Lems, he's going to find that final kill. BDS, match, series point.
Did you see that small moment of brilliance from BDS wherever that C4 landed at the legs of Monty? It was a delayed explosion. It landed there for 2 seconds, and that's because they were waiting for EFAC to get in position, so as the explosion goes off, the Monty shield swings away from his legs, and then EFAC can finish him off. Love it.
We've seen a couple of occasions of really minute timing like that from BDS.
Really smart, really clever.
And it does just go to show, it's so easy to get caught in the moment and to panic. But it's so much more rewarding to just wait that second, have your teammate there, have that plan.
Yeah, when you see everyone, look, waits for it,
beautiful
and then gets the swing onto the legs. Hearing that explosion, EFAC immediately switches because he knows that's going to be for the Monty. BDS, just that basement so strong, Ollie. 6-4 series point for BDS. This is it for all the marbles.
This is where it really starts to matter, because BDS got absolutely rinsed off this side last time. Gomez walked up main stairs, and it was over before you could blink. BDS need to find rounds elsewhere other than downstairs in that basement. That's the only place they found rounds so far. They had a 4-2 attacking split, so they're not doing fantastically well here on the defense. They're going 50-50. This is where they need to try and better that. M80 on the flip side. God, the pressure's mounting now.
BDS haven't changed in terms of denying those potential crouch walks from Gomez.
No lesion.
They haven't brought anything to really give them a cue, a signal that,
not even a fan.
There's someone coming up the staircase, which is surprising to see. I suppose they probably think these operators they've chosen are just too invaluable if they, they switch things around and they're missing elsewhere from the setup. It is what it is. I mean, I suppose the other option is if you're not relying on a gadget to do it, just stick a man in the staircase. Then, that would certainly do the job. You can see 3 C4s, all pretty heavy in the denial. Comboing that with the Valkyrie cameras and the mirror windows for clean information to get the C4s out. Sure, it makes sense. No mirror window in that construction wall, Ollie. They, like M80, will be playing it inside of walk-in. Just gives you a much more cleaner take whenever you're trying to deny access to bedroom window, construction door, for example. It's just holding into the logistics. It's a little bit trickier, Ollie, as we know.
Gomez going to attempt a nade from below here. Do you believe we heard a mirror window opened as well a little bit earlier on? Potentially going to see one of those out. Leaky Fac, all the way down in basement. He said he loves a lurk. He's lurking further than Gomez right now.
Gomez looking for a nade from below. He's going to try and nail the player who's inside. Oh no! misses it, and Jim needed to go a little bit more further towards the bomb. Lambs is lucky to get out of that one. M80 wasting a lot of utility, Ollie. That's both nades gone. No kills to show for it.
Spending a lot of time as well. This, oh, that's going to be devastating. Takes out the Selma. So one less thing that can get open. Finally, we see an opening pick come in onto Renshiro. Gomez, he's been pretty good in that stat line so far. Bride there for the trade. Alems, what a kill over onto Kino. Alems is still there. Leaky Fack on the flank. 4 versus 1. This is going nowhere for Iconic. He's got to find all the kills. Shaiko picks up the final 2. BDS. They do it again out here in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, at Gamers8.
Oh, it was coming. It was coming, Ollie. I think from the first map, we had a suspicion. We really did. I think we gave M80 a bit of belief that they could get back into it. But BDS, they're back. They are back. They were in hibernation mode over the spring, but oh boy, they've came out hungry in the summer.
BDS came out here last year in 2022. They didn't know what to expect. They walked away with the whole thing. They come out again here, 2023, Gamers8, make it all the way to the finals, all the way to Championship Sunday, and they walk away with it again, this time against M80. An up-and-coming roster still hasn't found their spark.
A message to M80, as someone who gets to see you guys on NAL, keep your heads high. You've done NA so proud. You're a young development roster. You're getting there. But it's BDS's moment, Ollie. Here they are, your Gamers8 2023 Rainbow Six champions, BDS!
Wow, what an incredible history-making tournament this has been for Team BDS. The entire time, fancy running up to this very moment, they had nothing but immense self-belief that they were going to be back-to-back champions, and they've done it.
من بداية البطولة هم قايلين حنا جايين للرياض عشان نكون الباك تو باك تشامبيونز Gamers8 وفريق بي دي اس فعلا قدروا انه يفعلها وقدروا انه يسويها الان هم كتبوا اسمهم في التاريخ للابد معنا في الرياض المملكة العربية السعودية ابداع صراحة وجاء الوقت اللي نسوي معهم مقابلة مع كل الفريق.
One more time for those of you in the arena. Your Gamers8 Rainbow Six 2023 champions. It's BDS! Alems, you didn't doubt that this would happen for a second.
To be honest, I didn't expect it. The way we were playing a few weeks ago, I didn't expect it.
Well, this is the thing. What is it about this tournament that brings out the best in your team? You know, the Jönköping Major feels like quite a while ago now. That's the last time we were all on stage together when you had some Siege silverware, but there's something about this event that brings out the best in your roster.
To be honest, I don't know. When we came here, everyone feels so motivated, but I don't know, we just won, I don't know. Like, we play so good, I can't understand.
سألنا إلمز إذا هو كان متوقع أن النتيجة بتكون بهالسهولة لكن يقول صراحة ما كنا متوقعينها أبدا 3-0 قدام فريق ميت يعني ما هو أي فريق زيادة على كذا سألناه أيضا إنه في آخر مرة شاهدناكم على مسرح تكسبون بطولة كاملة كان في اليونشيبينج ميجر في رينبو 6 سيج لكن هالمرة هذه وفي كل مرة تصيرون موجودين فيها بالرياض لسبب من الأسباب دائما أدائكم بيكون الأفضل فهل في سبب معين للشيء هذا؟ كان يقول انه لا ما في سبب صراحه، لكن مجرد ما نحن نجي نكون في الرياض في موسم الجيمرز احنا نكون جدا جدا محفزين اننا ناخذ البطوله بالكامل.
M80 were fantastic throughout this entire event. Commiserations to what is a fantastic team, and I know that we are going to see a lot more from them here in the future, but were you expecting this to be a 3-0 in your wildest dreams?
Yes, yes.
Yes is a good enough answer. Shaiko, last time we were together, Jönköping Major, you lifted the trophy there. You've done the back-to-back here. You were MVP last year, and you were phenomenal again here in Riyadh.
Yeah, it's feel good to win again, back-to-back. So it's great.
The back-to-back champs. Any last word? Licky fact, you weren't here for Gamers8 last time round. This time, you played a big part in it. You're holding the trophy. What does it mean to you?
It's been amazing. Like, I'm not the mistake in BDS, so I feel comfortable now. And winning Gamer8, it's amazing. Riyadh, it's amazing. So, yeah, I'm happy.
Guys, any last words to the fans at home?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and see you next year, maybe. See you next year. Inshallah.
All right, guys, we are going to do something that we've been doing here at Gamers8, a bit of a signing, if you will, and we're going to get that set up for you in just a moment's time. In fact, I think we're ready to do it right now. So what we want you to do is I'm going to give you a special pen, right? And at which point I want you to go and sign, every one of you sign your name on that camera right there. Again. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, actually, I should have unscrewed that for you first, shouldn't I? You got it? I should have really teed you up for this. I blame the stage manager for this, right? I'm kidding. I've got my hands full. Do you want to try again? This is awkward. I'll tell you what, as you start to, there we go, we're ready to go. As you sign the camera, I just want to say one more time, congratulations from all of us here at Gamers8 to our Rainbow Six champions. One more time, please, for BDS. As they have that tremendous moment there and the adulation from the fans, it's time to come over here and talk to M80's Kino. And listen, I don't want you to have your head bowed down at the moment. I know it's a difficult place to be, but you've got to be proud of what an incredible run you guys put together. And second place, let's not forget, it is still quite a lot of cash that you're taking home.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely fun to be here. It's a blessing. First of all, congrats to BDS. They played amazing. They outplayed us today. I think it was a combination of we were nervous, they outclassed us, and just we couldn't get anything going.
كينو معانا في المسرح بعد ما حصلوا على المركز الثاني، والشيء هذا ما هو شيء سيء ابدا، بالعكس الجائزه اللي حصلوها $400,000 من ال $2 مليون برايس بول، هذا رقم ابدا ما هو بسيط. سالناه اذا هو الشيء هذا ممكن انه يعني ما يكون هو الشيء اللي ما يعطيهم موتيفيشن للنكست ايفنت اللي ممكن يشاركون فيه، كان فقط جواب يقول انه بالعكس فريق BDS لعبوا بشكل افضل، وكان يعني شيء ما بين انه احنا كنا جدا متوترين في ادائنا، زياده على كذا هم قدروا يسوون لنا اوت كلاس لا اكثر من كذا، كانوا هم الفريق الافضل في هذه المباراه.
I've been watching you guys, on camera and behind the scenes. The synergy, the chemistry, the friendship that you all share is really strong. And I think that you've proven something here at this event, and that is that you're a special team, and you are going to go on to, achieve some pretty tremendous things here in Siege.
Yeah, we as a team, we're like a family. This is my second family. I love all of those guys, and we're not done. We're not going to end here. We're going to keep grinding, and we're going to keep getting better.
كينو جالس يقول لنا ايش الشعور على انه يكون متواجد مع فريق M80. الفريق بالنسبه له هو ما هو فقط التيميت اللي معاه، لا هم فقط عائلته الثانيه، وهم يعني جدا مبسوطين انهم يلعبون مع بعض، وجدا يعني سعيدين انهم راح يكملون ان شاء الله مشوارهم مع بعض. حطوا ببالكم انه زي ما ذكر كينو ما راح تكون هذه خطوتهم الاخيره، المركز الثاني في اول بطوله انترناشونال يكونوا متواجدين فيها، هذا شيء راح يكون له حجمه بشكل جدا كبير، والفريق تو بدا مسيرته.
Kino, we'll let you go and join your teammates. Commiserations once again, and congratulations to making it into second place. Fancy, that wraps things up for us here on the stage. It has been an absolute pleasure working alongside you here. This has been my first time here in Saudi Arabia. Thank you so much for having me. And listen, on to next year, right?
Until next year أعزائي المشاهدين هنا وصلنا إلى نهاية الحدث ببطولة رينبو 6 سيج في موسم الجيمرز. انتهينا عرفنا من البطل الباك تو باك تشامبيونز فريق BDS وقدرنا اننا نعرف مين اللي بيكون هو المركز الثاني. بقية المراكز زي ما شاهدتوا معنا في المباريات جدا تحمسنا في كل اداء الفرق اللي شاهدناهم اليوم صراحة لانه شيء كان غير متوقع ابدا لكن مبسوطين. وشكرا لكم ايضا انتم اعزائي المشاهدين ولكل الناس اللي اشتغلوا معنا في هذا الايفنت سواء كان من تالنت سواء كان من الناس المتواجدين معنا خلف المسرح او حتى كو-هوست حقي ايان. I'm really happy to have you here on stage and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, you said it yourself there, back-to-back winners in BDS. What an incredible achievement. Almost impossible to do, and they've pulled it off here. Our desk can analyze how it all happened right now before we say goodbye.
نروح على طول للاستديو التحليلي نتكلم اكثر على كيف صارت البطوله ونرجع لكم على طول في ختام البث.
You're back-to-back champions of Gamers8 featuring R6 is Team BDS. And my oh my, in what of a dominant fashion have they managed to close this one out. Throughout the entirety of the event over the last 4 days, they have dropped only one map, and that was against W7M in the semifinals. And they've shown us exactly why. I mean, the beast is awoken.
They lost 0 maps last year, 1 map this year.
Two maps next year.
2 maps probably next year, so we got about 2 more years until there's a chance of BDS losing at Gamers8. I mean, no, they played fantastic today. Obviously, they should be very, very happy with themselves. Completely dominated M80 in that grand finals. The clean 3-0 sweep. Just an incredible performance here from BDS.
There's just something that happens when they enter Riyadh here. They get something from the air here, I would assume, or something. They have been absolutely dominating this tournament last year as well. It must feel really good for them too, considering how their stage 1 in Europe League really wasn't all that convincing. They didn't even qualify to the major, so to get a massive win on such an event like this one, that must be really good for their confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. This can be like the Kickstarter, right? For having a better second half of the year. There's still going to be EUL Stage 2, but still being able to come here on this international competition and play against the likes of W7M, a team that we've said one of the best teams have ever touched the game, and beat them. They're then going up against M80, one of the teams that has just been absolutely explosive in their playstyle. It genuinely felt like there hasn't been a single team that has been able to give BDS a run for their money. W7M got close, they weren't close enough.
I think we'll see BDS at another grand finals not too long from now. You know, last year it started a bit of a dynasty. They won back-to-back international tournaments, including the Yangtze Major and the Japan Invitational. This year they've got, you know, of course, the Atlanta Major coming up soon, and then there'll be 6 Invitational in Brazil in a little bit. So, yeah, I think things are looking up for BDS, and I think they're back on it.
Yeah, they seem to be locked in and loaded, and again, congratulations for them for being able to close it out. But also M80, maybe one thing that Fresh touched upon was the fact that he expected Chalet, potentially, to be that second map rather than Border. Are you in agreement with that statement?
I mean, yes. Obviously, when you're going to ban in a best of 5, it works so much different than when you ban a best of 3 or a best of 1. Like, at the beginning, you can only get rid of one of your permabans before your opponent gets the opportunity to select a map that really isn't favored by you. So they went for Cafe, which makes sense. It's a very most contested ban, I think, as of this year. But then, indeed, it could have been Chalet that they brought out, because we all know how BDS doesn't really like Chalet. We've seen them play Chalet, but you at least get some information on how they play on that map too.
Yeah, and you know, hindsight's 2020. They go for Border, and it is what it is. They probably should have won that if they were going to win this series, right? That's the one they had to win. You know, here on Clubhouse for our final map, I thought they did a great job with the bans. You know, the Yana ban obviously targeting down to Shaiko, and it's like you saw that very first round where they're able to completely hold down the basement bomb site. Blue is never contested. Shaiko just drops in and dies, and then immediately BDS adapted. What happened the next time they went down to the basement? Shaiko's on the Nook, so he's got the nades to go forward and get control of Blue. They've got Bride dropping the hatch with the Osa shield this time, so he doesn't get slammed when he's dropping the hatch on Habana like he did the previous round. The adaptations were so good and so smart from BDS, and that's just that another level that they're going to be at when they're playing you in these rounds. You know, you might come in with a plan, and it could be a good plan, but in a moment, they come up with a solution.
Yeah, I feel like it was that, obviously adapting to what they would need in another round to, well, kill the pain points that they were really facing in previous rounds. But another thing that I really commend from BDS is that they weren't forcing it too much. When there was a player really off-site, they weren't trying to stay there until they got the opening kill or died, and then went away. away. No, for example, there are situations where there's someone playing in Garage and they're playing as Warden and they understood, okay, I've wasted a minute, I've got rid of about 4 drones. It's okay for me to drop back to the basement. I've got viable utility. I don't need to force it here to get that opening kill in towards our favor because I've wasted so much time. Being so mature in making these decisions has really helped BDS today as well.
Yeah, you know what else helped BDS a lot today as well is Shaiko going 11%. Yeah. I'm just gonna put that out there. This man has been on absolute fire since the moment they stepped foot at the Gamers8 tournament.
Yeah, and he was leading the kill game kinda as well.
Yeah,
but after
here.
second map, I think it was like a 3 or 5 kills difference because it was initially Diaz and Spoit both leading that with the same amount of kills. So I feel like he's probably got that in the bag now as well.
Yeah,
he got the most
like
kills.
To know?
Yeah, I would really like.
You
to
would
know.
really like
I'd
to
like
know.
to get it confirmed so I know that my maths isn't
that terrible?
Yeah.
You want to know who has the most kills? I mean, I would love to know as well.
Yeah.
We're going to head into that once that is ready. But I think, in general, when we're looking at Shaiko as a player, that is one of the issues potentially that M80 did not have an answer for. Because this man, he is the issue. He is the problem, but also the solution for BDS.
Yeah.
He's the problem. And, you know, M80 said it themselves. You know, we feel like we are a gunning team, all 5 of us. They said they thought they had the firepower. Everybody on M80 is a great player. They can all hit their shots, but Shaiko is a different level. If he is hitting his shots, if he's playing his game, I don't think there's anybody else in the entire world who matches up to his level of consistently hitting shots round after round, consistently being in the right spot round after round. He's just a generational type player, and another trophy in his belt. He's going to be very deserving of that.
Shaiko is that guy.
Yeah,
and we're gonna see, and we're gonna see if he's that guy, like for real, because we're gonna have a look at the most kills graphic, and he is that guy by 11 kills lead on Spoit. Diaz is a 3rd, Felipux is the 4th, but keep in mind it is literally tied with Iconic. They both have 93 kills. We can't really show that on the graphic, but keep that in mind. Felipux and Iconic got 93 kills throughout this tournament. And Felipux wasn't even in the grand finals.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows how much of a contribution Felipux obviously had. Spoit and Diaz, you can't take this tournament away from them either. Spoit played so well throughout the tournament. Diaz, of course, that solid support player for M80, always putting in a strong performance. But Shaiko, I mean, 11 kills when you're playing even fewer maps, right? I mean, M80 played consistently 3-game series. They didn't have a single series that wasn't 3 games because they got 3 out here. So BDS, who had multiple 2-0s, they had less opportunities to get those kills, and still Shaiko's ahead.
He gets a 10K. He gets $10,000 for getting the most kills this tournament. So congratulations, Shaiko. You apparently are that guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously deserved as well. Like, we know how much Shaiko loves the Yana, and then in the final map, they bend away his Yana, and then he goes and plays with a different ARX, or he just plays a different operator with nades. He still gets to play his own game, and he's so phenomenal with those nades from underneath, those vert nades. I don't know how many of those we've seen this event, but there has to be a ton. He's done a really good job with that. So it's not just a one-trick Yana, he can play so many different operators and still be successful with them.
You know what it also makes me wonder? It makes me wonder if you get the most kills, is that synonymous to being the MVP? Because again, he had the MVP award last year. It's another merit award on the line this year as well. He's already gotten the most kills. So if my math is mathing, then maybe, is there a chance?
What are you leaning towards, Ginny?
I'm leaning towards, we have the MVP awards, of course, and there's a total of 4 players that are qualifying for being the MVP from, you know, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So if you had to just give it a guess for your 4 players that have been the most valuable throughout this entire tournament, could you just sprinkle in some names here and there?
There have to be a few of those that were on the kills leaderboard, at least.
Of course, yeah. I mean, Shaiko is going to be in the conversation. We just congratulated him. I think he was the best player, at least in that final map. Of course, MVP's going throughout the entire tournament. I think his teammates, Lickyfack, an amazing tournament. Bride, the way that he started out, fantastic. Even Alems really did, I think, outshine what people maybe think of when they think of Alems. They think of maybe a guy who's more second fiddle on BDS. He had some real fantastic games today. So it's unfortunate we could only give out 4 MVPs, and something tells me we didn't give them all to the same team, so.
I hope not.
Maybe.
All right, we have the highlights ready for our MVP. So we're going to start rolling by going for number 4, number 3, number 2, number 1. So it's like a ascending order. So first one coming through is going to be from the M80 BDS game. You guys are going to have to try and get a gander at that.
That would be Bride, I do believe.
That is Bride.
Yeah, we're expecting
some glasses might be in order. No, Bride, an amazing support. Yeah, and I'm proud of it. Listen, Bride, I don't think that he had the best Gamers Without Borders. I really did look at those games throughout GWB, and I thought he kind of had some panic moments. I was a little bit disappointed with the way that he showed up, which was surprising because he is such a legendary support player in the scene. But then he comes into G8, drops monstrous kill-death ratios throughout the group stage, comes into these playoffs as well, a massive impact to beat both their first-round opponents, the Falcons, and now here against M80, an 100% deserved MVP for Bride.
It's not very common for a support to be dropping kills so consistently as Bride has been doing, and especially when he gets put in these clutching situations. You just don't see a single bit of fear on his face whatsoever. He's cool, calm, collected. We've seen him get so many clutches. It's definitely deserved.
Yeah, another player who's been getting a lot of clutches as well, who is also more on that supportive side of things, is Philippox. You've highlighted him as well continuously throughout the tournament, Jesse, in terms of being one of those players that is consistently there showing up for W7M.
I think he's so underrated. I said it on Twitter, I'll say it again. I think he's the most underrated player in the game right now. You think about W7M, you think about KZ, you think about Herds, but Philippox, oh my god. In the moments where he is needed most, he steps up and he will not let you down.
You'll see him play him so many different operators as well, from a Glass to a Capitao to a Buck, really getting that utility in the game for his team to help him out, getting aggressive, for example, on Oryx as well, really showing all these different facets. Since he joined the team, obviously, it's been so good for W7M. They've really had a strong point join that team since he joined.
Yeah, I think Philippox as well, we highlighted the play already, so the fact that he's getting both fourth in MVP in terms of like the kills and now a third on the MVP, he should be very proud of himself considering how far W7M made it into this tournament.
Certainly.
All right, number 2 we have coming up as well. We'll play the highlights. I haven't been confirmed yet who that is going to be, but Spoit, never mind, it's going to be Spoit. He is, I mean, surprise, surprise, it's Spoit. I know you're not his biggest fan, Jesse, but Demo would be absolutely screaming right now.
I like Spoit, I do. I think he's a great player. Listen, it's well-deserved MVP. He really stole the show here for M80, as he does. They're flashy, hard-hitting entry player. He's the guy that you're always going to point to be that one to step up and make the big plays, and he 100% did that at this event.
Yeah, really putting up the entry kills, opening up the scoreboard and the field for his team, really getting active in that, consistently putting numbers up as well, because he was tied with Diaz pre this game and leading the kill, the most kills during this tournament, so definitely deserved to.
Yeah, I mean, when we're looking at Spoit coming into this, we said as well, when you're competing up against M80, that is definitely one of the players that you want to keep your eyes out for. Yep. That's one of the players that can cause a lot of issues when your team goes up against him. So unfortunately, maybe not being able to do as much damage against BDS, but still, throughout the tournament, he's done amazing.
Certainly, and I think, you know, all of M80, they do deserve some credits here, right? There's some fantastic players on there. Kino had some moments just absolutely amazing. Diaz, his consistency throughout this tournament. We saw him on the kill leaderboard as well. You got to highlight a lot of the players there on M80, but Spoit for me is the guy who is making those big plays. He's the star of the squad, and you've got to honor him here in the second place for the MVPs.
And then last but not least, because technically it's not the last, it's number 1 in terms of the most valuable player throughout this entire tournament. You probably already guessed it, it's Shaiko. Back to back.
Yeah, I'm really not surprised. I mean, starting his journey here, we talked about, oh, well, you know, he's a spearhead for his team. He's that player that you look to when it comes to getting kills for this team and really sometimes putting his entire team in the backpack. But then the main concern was sometimes his inconsistency. I think that was the thing that happened during Gamers Without Borders too. Sometimes not having the greatest of games, but I feel like that totally just did not happen during this tournament. Even in this final series, he was just constantly putting up kills, being aggressive on the Legion, playing with Diana, getting those nade kills, getting kills in with Nock. He's been putting forward for his team a lot and being very consistent.
The best player in the world, bar none. Shaiko, I mean, with how many years as well he's been doing this, was the MVP last year, the MVP this year, how many tournaments has he been popping off, even way back in the day before he had to take his hiatus. Shaiko really was that guy, and a legend of Rainbow Six Siege put on a show for us this weekend, and it's been a joy watching him play.
Yeah, it's been enjoyable watching every single one of these players play, as well as the teams that we've seen competing here, because at the end of the day, we generally got a treat in terms of the best teams from every single region, and they've all put on such an incredible show. Maybe not G2, but that's okay, because we are going to be looking at the most valuable player, of course, being Shaiko, but also want to have a bit of a look in terms of how this entire tournament went, right? All these teams have shown up and giving it their all. So if we had to pinpoint or nitpick some of the games that we've enjoyed the most,
has to be games with BDS, I reckon. I mean, for me, probably the BDS W7M game, as I feel like a lot of people were expecting that W7M would definitely come out winning from that game.
Absolutely, I was one of
major
those.
champions to the major that BDS didn't even qualify to. BDS had a little slump in EUL, and then for BDS to come out blazing like that, I think that maybe surprised a lot of people, but it was a good quality game as well.
Yeah, and I don't mean to keep on the train of dunking on W7M, but their loss to M80 as well.
Yeah.
What a series in the semifinals that we got treated to yesterday. An incredibly close game between those two squads. It really did feel like W7M were, giving it all they could. They were the favorites in that, but then the underdogs, M80, coming through and finding a huge win on Chalet. 7-5 to end off that series. It was a fantastic one to watch, especially for the NA fans in the crowd. But yeah, tough for W7M sometimes here. They'll be back.
Yeah, and then that allowed M80 to go into the finals up against BDS, which is the game that we've seen today, and BDS managed to take that one in a very clean 3-0 sweep. So that does put an end to the tournament for this year, because we're going to be back next year, bigger and better than ever, so you're going to have to keep your eyes out for those. But before we close it out, as usual, in true Ginny fashion, I would like to ask both of you to give a bit of a closing statement. It can be sentimental, it can just be by, just don't do what Jack did on the UL.
Do you want us to cry, or
if you want to, I mean, go for it. If you feel like you want to cry tears of happiness, be my guest. Just it's gonna get clipped and shipped.
No, I feel like we've had a really good tournament in regards of we had those 10 teams come in, teams that we really expected to go really far. I mean, not to dunk on G2 or W7, and we were expecting them to go really far, potentially in the finals. And I love it when teams prove me wrong.
Yeah.
When there's unexpected victors coming out from certain games or things that you don't expect, like huge personal plays that we've seen this tournament as well. So I think the quality of Siege has been really good. Obviously for viewers. Neutral viewers on this game was amazing. It's been really good.
It's been really good.
It's been great.
Very hard hitting analysis.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's great.
And listen, I mean, I think it's incredible this tournament not only coming in at a time when Rainbow Six Siege obviously doesn't have a whole lot going on, right? This summer off season has been kind of long, not been a lot of Tier 1 Siege going on. To have this event has been fantastic. We've gotten to see teams from all over the world come in and compete. I'm so happy that we got our finals bracket. 4 regions represented, North America, Europe, MENA, and Brazil as well, all putting up such strong showings here. I think the future of Rainbow Six Siege is bright. I think we're going to have some fantastic matches coming forward throughout the rest of the year, and I'm excited to see what goes on. I hope NA wins a little bit more than they have been, but hey, I'm here for the ride either way.
A man can dream.
Boy can
man
dream.
can dream. Thank you guys as well so much for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you to everyone behind the scenes in production for making it possible. Thank you to my 2 great analysts. Well, there's 3, but Jack isn't here. He did a little bit of an early dip, but that's fine. So I hope you guys have an incredible evening. We're going to be back again next year, bigger and better, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Enjoy the rest of Gamers8. There are so many more gaming titles to be on the lookout for, so have a good night, and we'll see you then.